The rain has passed, leaving the air cool and clear. The ground glistens with a soft shimmer beneath the quiet night sky, and the world seems freshly washed, like creation itself has taken a deep breath. You can smell the damp earth, the sweetness of grass, the faint scent of rain still lingering in the breeze. Somewhere in the distance, a single drop falls from a leaf and lands gently in the puddle below. Ripples move outward, slow and graceful, until they fade into stillness. It's peaceful here, in this space between the storm and the stars. And maybe that's exactly where your soul is tonight, standing between the weight of all you've carried and the peace that waits on the other side. You've been holding so much. Haven't you thoughts that wouldn't stop running? Worries you tried to push aside but couldn't. The quiet heaviness that follows you into the night when the world has gone still. But you're not meant to carry it all. You never were. Scripture says in 1 Peter 5:7, "Cast all your cares upon him, for he cares for you." It's such a simple truth, yet one we forget when the weight feels too heavy. You were never called to hold every burden, every fear, every uncertainty alone. You were called to release them, to hand them over to the one who can carry them with infinite strength and perfect love. So tonight, as the world grows quiet and the night deepens, let's begin to let go together. Take a deep breath in. Feel your chest rise. Hold it for a moment, and then slowly exhale, releasing the day with it. Feel your shoulders loosen, your hands soften, your heart begin to open. With each breath, imagine the worries you've been carrying, the ones about tomorrow, the ones about the people you love, the ones about things you can't control, all of them beginning to lift from you like mist rising after rain. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to solve everything tonight. You just have to release them. You just have to cast them into His care. God isn't asking you to be fearless. He's asking you to be trusting. There's a difference. Fear says, "What if I fall?" Faith says, "Even if I do, I know who will catch me." Maybe tonight is the night you finally stop trying to hold it all together on your own. Maybe tonight you let God hold you instead. As you sit here in the quiet, imagine you're standing beside a gentle river. The water moves slowly, its surface smooth, reflecting the moonlight like a mirror of peace. You can hear its soft rhythm, the whisper of flow, the murmur of calm. In your hands, you're holding a few smooth stones, each one representing something you've been carrying. One might be your worries about the future, another, the weight of disappointment, another, the ache of something you've lost. One by one, picture yourself throwing those stones into the river. Hear the soft splash as each one disappears beneath the surface. Watch the ripples fade. They are no longer yours to carry. The river, steady and endless, takes them away. That river is God's care. His current is strong enough to carry everything you give Him. And His heart is tender enough to receive it all with love. You don't have to pretend with Him. You don't have to be strong. You can come as you are weary, uncertain, even broken, and he will meet you with compassion. He doesn't shame you for your burdens. He invites you to hand them over. Every sigh, every silent tear, every whispered prayer, he gathers them like raindrops and turns them into peace. You might feel tears pressing behind your eyes. That's okay. Let them fall if they need to. Every tear that escapes is one less worry you have to carry. God sees them all. He holds them all. Psalm 568 says, He collects our tears in His bottle, recording every one. That's how deeply He cares. That's how personal His love is. Nothing you give to Him is lost. Every burden you release becomes a space for grace to enter. Every care you cast becomes an act of worship, a quiet declaration that says, I trust you. Lord, maybe you've been holding something so long, you've forgotten what it feels like to be light. Maybe you've been praying for something that hasn't yet changed. Or maybe you're just tired of trying, tired of waiting, tired of feeling like you have to carry faith by yourself. You don't. Faith was never about your strength. It's about His. His hands are bigger than your fears. His heart is deeper than your doubts. His love is stronger than your circumstances. And tonight, in this peaceful quiet after the rain, you can rest in that truth. Feel the stillness settle into you. The night air is cool against your skin. The sound of the river soft in your ears. The moonlight spilling gently over the world like grace itself. You are not alone. You never were. God has been walking beside you through every storm, even when you couldn't see Him through the rain. He was there in every moment you thought you couldn't make it. He was there in every silent prayer you whispered through tears. And He is here now, saying, give it to me. Cast your cares, all of them, not just the small ones or the ones you think He can handle, all of them, because He cares for you. There's something freeing about that, to know you don't have to filter your pain. You don't have to hide your fear. You don't have to clean yourself up before you approach Him. You can bring everything to Him, exactly as it is. You can lay it all at His feet. You can finally breathe. So take another deep breath now. Feel it rise in your chest and leave slowly through your lips. With each exhale, imagine the heaviness leaving your body, floating up into the night sky like faint wisps of smoke. Let them go, the anxieties, the guilt, the expectations. Let them rise until they disappear among the stars. The same God who placed those stars in the heavens has no trouble holding the weight of your world. He's not overwhelmed by your need. He delights in being your refuge. You can trust Him with your heart. You can trust Him with your tomorrow. You can trust Him with your cares. And when the temptation comes to pick them back up again, to worry, to analyze, to replay, remind yourself that they no longer belong to you. You've placed them in hands far stronger, far kinder than your own. It's okay to let go. It's okay to rest. It's okay to not have all the answers. Rest isn't the absence of movement. It's the presence of trust. You are safe in His care. You are secure in His love. As you sit in that peace, you might notice the air shifting again. The night grows deeper. Giedir. The stars above shine with the soft confidence of eternity, and within you, something begins to settle, a calm, unhurried faith that says, it's going to be okay, because it is. You've given it to God, and He is faithful. He doesn't lose what you entrust to Him. You can rest now, truly rest, not just in body, but in spirit. You can close your eyes, knowing the one who never sleeps is watching over you. The rain that once soaked the earth has given way to renewal. The ground is soft beneath you, fertile with the promise of new life. That's what happens when you release what once felt heavy becomes holy. What once felt broken becomes blessed. God takes every burden you cast upon Him and turns it into something beautiful in His time. So rest now. Beloved, you've done enough for today. You've given enough. You've felt enough. Let the night hold you, and let God's presence cover you like the quiet after rain. You are safe. You are loved. You are free to rest. Take one last deep breath in, and whisper this truth to your heart. I cast my cares on you, Lord, for you care for me. Let that truth settle into every corner of your being. You are not alone in the weight of life. You are carried by grace, held by love, surrounded by peace. You can sleep in that truth. And as your eyes grow heavier, as your breathing slows, let gratitude rise in your heart. Gratitude for a God who listens, who carries, who restores. Thank Him for His care, for His faithfulness, for His gentle hand that never lets you go. And as you drift toward rest, may your dreams be filled with the sound of His peace, the quiet assurance that everything you've given to Him is safe, cared for, and held in perfect love. If this time of stillness has comforted your heart tonight, I invite you to stay with us, to subscribe, to share, or to leave a kind word that might help another weary soul find rest in God's Word. Together, we are creating a space of peace, a place where faith meets rest, and where every care finds its home in Him. Sleep peacefully now. You have given it all. You are loved beyond measure. You are free to rest in His care. I welcome you into this quiet hour. I speak softly. I ask you to stay a while and subscribe if these evenings help. I invite you to share with someone who needs rest. A gentle tap on the subscribe button keeps this calm light in place. A share can carry it to a tired heart. I say this with a simple hope that more of us find rest in God's Word before sleep. I sit where the lamp throws a warm circle on the table. A Bible lies open. The page edges are soft from many evenings. My voice comes close and slow. I read, as if telling a story to someone next to me. The room around us is quiet. The air feels cool. A small clock ticks softly. You do not need to do anything but listen and breathe with me. Take one easy breath now. In slowly. Out slowly. Let shoulders drop. Let ear soften. If thoughts drift, notice them kindly. Then bring attention back to the present breath. The body can rest. The mind can rest. Tonight the Word will be a shelter. I will read and paraphrase. I will let the phrases rest on us without argument or debate. Mercy is the tone. Hope is the thread. I begin with a psalm that often sits in my pocket of comfort. It speaks in simple rhythms about safety and kindness. It speaks about a shepherd's presence and green places to lie down. Close your eyes if that helps. Picture a quiet field. The light settles slowly. No hurry is in the air. The one who cares watches without rushing. The words move like soft steps across grass. They say there is provision, even when the way narrows. They promise guidance, calm, and a quietness that follows through the night. As I read, the sounds of the room become part of the listening, the hum of the lamp, a distant car, a breeze on a window. Nothing interrupts the steady pour of the language. Each sentence sits, each image rests. There is no need to respond. There is only listening and receiving. Next I turn to a passage that remembers the steadiness of God in times of fear. It pictures mountains and storms, but it names an unshakable refuge. I let the passage remind us that even when the seas rise and the heart worries, there is a presence that steadies hands and lifts the gaze. This presence does not erase the night. It walks through it with us. It holds a lantern without demanding that we carry it alone. I speak slowly now, so the space between words has weight. If sleep comes, that is good. If the mind wanders, that is fine. If tears come, let them come as rain that waters a dry place. Each sigh after a sentence can be a small release. Each pause is intentional. I allow silence to fill the room. Like a hymn, without words, I often choose short, familiar phrases for this time. They settle easier into tired minds. They do not require study. They ask only a soft attention. A line about kindness. A line about faithfulness. A line about morning hope that returns like light over a ridge. I paraphrase with care. The aim is comfort, not debate. The aim is rest, not correction. Tonight I will read from Psalms and from brief scenes in the Gospels that portray tenderness. I avoid argument and heavy theory. I focus on mercy, on rest, on trust. I let the images of peace reach the heart with gentle steps. I let the promises be like warm hands on a forehead. Imagine now a small house at the edge of a village. The family leans at windows and watches the sky close. Someone prays without needing to explain the meaning. Someone thanks without complicated words. The warmth of a lamp, the scent of bread, the hush of night. These are the kinds of images tucked into these passages. They are ordinary and somehow holy. They remind us that a simple life with care can hold deep calm. I move slowly to a passage that pictures a long road and a companion who walks beside the traveler. The companion speaks not with loud commands but with steady assurance. The pace is unhurried. The traveler's feet find rest in the moment. There is no urgency to fix all things. There is an invitation to trust the step underfoot, one at a time. Breathe in that invitation. Let it unfold in the chest. Sometimes I pause to name a small mercy from the day. A quiet cup of tea. A smile from a stranger. A brief moment when a worry eased. These small mercies anchor the larger truths. They show how grace touches the ordinary. I speak them softly. I hold them up like little lanterns. They can light the path towards sleep. If worry knocks at the door tonight, I do not offer ready-made answers. I offer a posture. This posture is to lay the burden down one small piece at a time. Let the palm open. Let the shoulders relax. Let hands unclench. A simple act of releasing becomes a prayer in miniature. It needs no complicated theology. It simply trusts the night to hold what must be held. I say again, subscribe if these evenings help. Share with someone who struggles to find gentle rest. The small act of sharing can make a real difference. It creates a chain of calm that crosses living rooms and bedrooms. It brings the word to someone sitting alone with worry. It is a quiet kindness, done at no cost but a click. As I continue, imagine a river at twilight. The movement is smooth. The surface reflects the sky. Neither perfect nor heavy, the river carries leaves and small branches without fuss. The world around the water breathes in the same rhythm. This is the kind of image that many passages use to teach rest. The flow does not rush, and the stones are not forced. It takes its time, and so can we. I read a short section that speaks of being sustained through the night into morning. The language lingers on the promise that morning comes. I do not insist on a timetable. I only point to the pattern dark hours often yield to light. This pattern does not make pain disappear. It offers a companionable hope. It invites patience and trust. If you feel distant from faith, know that these readings do not require a perfect heart. They offer space for questions. They welcome uncertainty as part of the way. Rest can exist alongside doubt. Mercy holds both. I do not press for answers. I press for presence. I offer words that sit near the soul like a warm blanket. I keep the sentences short so the sound can be soft. Each phrase is a step. Each pause a room for breath. I do not speak in long paragraphs. I do not use dense language. Tonight the tone is simple and gentle. The voice is steady and small. Before the end of this first hour, I will read a brief blessing. It moves like a benediction, not as a formula, but as an expression of care. It names peace to meet the mind. It names rest to meet the body. It asks mercy to walk with the weary. It holds the listeners in a quiet wish for safety through the night. I promise one thing, these readings will not argue or press. They will present gentle words and invite rest. In the coming parts, we will move through more passages, calm stories, and quiet reflections. Each part is meant to be slow and steady, so the whole evening can become a single experience of calm. For now, stay with the final lines I bring. Let them sit on the chest like a soft weight. Let them be the last thing heard before the lids close. Let them be a small assurance that you are not alone. I close this first segment with a slow, simple hope that the word will steady the heart, that mercy will attend the night, and that morning will come, as it often does, with a gentle light. Rest now, if you can. If sleep waits, carry these words like a lantern. If wakefulness lingers, let the quiet continue. I will be here in the next part, reading more slowly, sharing more passages, and keeping watch in the small hours. The invitation remains the same. Come with a tired heart, and let the word hold it gently. I lower the lamp another notch. The light thins. The room breathes softer. A Bible rests on my lap. Its spine remembers nights like this. The paper smells faintly of dust and olive oil stories. I set a small cup beside the book. Steam rises and fades. Outside, a distant streetlight hums. That sound slips into the background. The evening moves at the pace of slow breathing. I invite you to make a small space where you are. Set a blanket across your knees. Turn off bright screens. Let the phone sleep. If you are already in bed, settle your head on a pillow that holds you without effort. If you sit, place feet on the floor. Let weight sink where it meets the chair. These are small customs that help the heart acknowledge rest. We breathe together. In slowly, out slowly. No rush. Each breath meets the next like a gentle tide. Let the shoulders relax 1 degree at a time. Unclench the jaw by half. Give the hands permission to soften. The body can take these tiny steps. The spirit can follow. There is no hurry to arrive anywhere, but here. I speak now about opening the heart. This is not a task of performance. It is not a requirement for approval. It is an offering of honesty. Bring the true feelings you hold. Bring the quiet fears. Bring the small joys. Bring questions that do not yet have answers. Lay them on the table without needing to name or explain. The heart can be simple and still be heard. If the name of faith feels heavy or distant, that is acceptable here. If faith feels like a lamp, small and dim, that too is accepted. The goal is authenticity rather than polish. The room is large enough for both certainty and doubt. Mercy stretches to hold the full spread of what is present. There is room for whatever arrives in the chest tonight. I choose words that sound like a hand on the shoulder. I avoid sharp edges and long arguments. The Bible I hold contains many textures. Some pages are like a steady hearth. Others are like a quiet river. I move between them slowly. I do not rush commentary. I read the movement of the text like a landscape and let the listener rest within it. Tonight I read passages that pause at tenderness. They mention a presence that keeps watch through the dark. They do not promise erasing of struggle. They promise company. The tone stays gentle. The aim is reassurance, not debate. Layers of mercy appear like layered cloth. Each layer invites warmth. Imagine a small harbor at twilight. Boats rest with ropes slack. The water carries only small ripples. A few lanterns flicker on the shore. No one demands the boats move. The harbor is steady enough to hold them. The text will place similar images before us. The metaphor is simple. Rest happens when movement eases and trust settles. I will speak in short sentences. They fit the ear well. They do not require paper. They breathe. The language stays present. Each line is meant for listening. Let the sound roll gently over the mind. Let it settle into the soft spaces. You do not need to fix anything before listening. The posture here is reserved and honest. If hands are clenched, open them deliberately and feel the air pass between fingers. If the chest feels tight, place a hand there and notice the rhythm. This small notice is itself a kind of prayer. It is more about presence than perfect words. Sometimes the Bible shows a quiet house where a lamp sits burning by the bedside. A person sits and remembers a day. A single phrase pauses and holds the scene. The passages I select are like that lamp. They give enough light to see the next small thing. They do not glare. They do not demand answers. They say, "Come near. Rest in the light we share for a moment. If tears come, allow them. They are a language the heart uses. If sleep arrives, welcome it like an arriving friend. If wakefulness stays, stay with the listening itself. The purpose is not sleep alone. The purpose is peace that can live with wakefulness. Comfort can sit beside the questions you carry. I pause between phrases on purpose. Those silences are not empty. They are places for the words to settle. Let the quiet hold whatever surfaces. A thought may drift up. A small memory may appear. Notice it, and then return to the sound of the voice. Each pause keeps the pace unhurried. When I read, I blend paraphrase and short direct phrases. I try to keep the cadence soft. I avoid heavy or abstract terms. The images are tactile, a field, a lamp, a path, a table. These simple things anchor the heart. They hold attention without demanding study. I also keep watch for mercy in ordinary act. The small kindnesses of a day often carry the weight of grace. A neighbor who smiled, a warm drink that eased a chill, a short note left on a counter. These details are not small to the soul. They are often the way hope arrives. I will name a few of these mercies as we go. They help translate larger promises into the texture of living. If the mind begins to argue, do not force silence. Let the argument speak its piece and then let it soften. Sometimes the mind keeps company by voicing objections. Let them be heard. They do not disqualify rest. They simply belong to the landscape. The posture here is patient listening, not sudden correction. I read passages that show a leader who moves among people with calm hands. The leader's words are not loud commands. They are invitations to lean into rest. I do not press doctrine. I press welcome. The invitation sounds like a path that is wide enough for small steps. Take one step at a time. Trust what is near. Let the step be enough for now. We keep the room quiet of excess. No extra explanations. No long proofs. The voice remains constant. This steadiness is part of the comfort. It becomes a companion in the night. The rhythm asks nothing from the listener except gentle attention and an open heart. I will sometimes offer short reflections after a passage. These are small beams, not long lanterns. They aim to make the text feel near. They help the hearer place the words beside their own life. The reflections are simple. They may speak of patience. They may speak of small hope. They may simply point to the next breath. Tonight the reading will include phrases about rest as a gift and mercy as a presence. The language will point toward trust without demanding certainty. The hope offered is steady and mild. It does not erase the struggle. It stands beside it like a steady light on the bedside table. If you choose to pray silently, do so in words as simple as the breath. If silence suits you better, hold that silence. The room accepts both. The book sits open, patient and familiar. Its pages have kept vigil with many nights. They seem to remember how to be quiet and how to speak. I end this part with a small invitation. Open the heart now, if it feels possible. Let honesty be the gesture. Let the small movements of surrender be enough. The lamp is low. The cup cools. The Bible waits. In the next part, I begin the first passage aloud. I read in a pace that leaves space between each phrase. If sleep comes before the reading ends, that is fine. If the mind stays awake, listen as a friend sits near and keeps watch. We move forward together, one breath at a time. The room is set. The scene is simple. The heart can speak true and be met with mercy. When you are ready, I will turn the page and begin. I turn the page now. The paper breathes a soft sound. The lamp keeps a thin circle of light. The room listens. I begin to read aloud about a presence that does not grow tired. The words move slowly. Each one rests before the next. The passage I choose speaks of a company that never withdraws. It says, presence is like a steady companion who walks beside the traveler, even in places that feel empty. The image is simple. It does not promise a life without trouble. It promises not to leave in trouble. That promise is a slow comfort. I let that comfort sink into the room. I read a short line that says, God is nearer than any distance. We name. This nearness is not a distant idea. It is a hand at the shoulder. It is a quiet breath that steadies the chest. Imagine that hand for a moment. Feel it without needing to name it. The palm does not press hard. It simply reminds the heart that someone keeps watch. There are passages that frame presence as constant, like a root holding a tree through changing seasons. The roots reach under soil and keep the tree steady when wind moves the branches. The thought is gentle. It says the same force that holds the tree holds the heart. The language is simple. I let each phrase drip slowly, like water into a quiet cup. I pause often. The pauses are not empty. They give the words space to rest in the body. Breathe with me. In slowly, out slowly. Notice how the chest rises and falls. Let the thought of presence move with that rhythm. Presence is not a rush. It is a rhythm you can match. A short section speaks of being known, not just seen. It says the life we carry is familiar to the one who watches. There is an intimacy in that knowing. It feels safe because it does not require explanation. The heart can be what it is. The presence that knows does not turn away from the messy parts. It keeps company without judging the shape of the wounds. If worry is near, place a hand at the place where the breath gathers. Feel how the skin meets skin. This small touch is an act of honesty. It is a way to say, here I am. The presence hears this honest posture. It answers with calm. often in silence more than in words. I read about a presence that stretches through all stages of life. It is there in the first joys and in the last small fears. It walks with parents up late in the night. It stays with workers who leave at dawn. It sits with those who keep watch at hospital beds. The picture is broad and steady. It lets ordinary hours carry a sacred shade. There is a passage that compares presence to a light that does not flicker. The lamp is not bright in a way that startles. It is soft and steady. It casts enough light to see the next small thing. The metaphor invites small steps. Take one, then another. You do not have to run. The night does not demand speed. Trust the steady glow. I speak a few quiet reflections between readings. One says that presence can come as mercy in small acts. An unexpected note left on a table. A meal shared in silence. A phone call that lasts 2 minutes, but feels like a long embrace. These small gestures are ways presence touches life. They are not large proofs. They are everyday mercies that soften the edges of a hard day. Another reflection points to a comfort that feels like an anchor. The anchor keeps a boat from drifting when the sea grows loud. It is not a solution that stops the sea. It simply holds. This image is not heavy. It offers a place to rest while waves pass. Hold to the anchor for a breath. The reading turns to a gentle assurance that nothing is ever so lost, that presence cannot find it. The language does not claim to answer every fear. It only offers a steady line back. Imagine a path that curves into shadow and then returns to light. Presence walks that path with you. It does not force the pace. It accepts the slow and the hesitant. At times I weave short paraphrases of words that feel like a promise. Never alone. Always near. I do not speak long theologies. I speak single, simple lines. They rest on the ear. They sit beside the sleeper like a quiet pillow. Now, place attention on the feet for a moment. Feel the surface beneath. Notice if the toes are tense. Let small loosening happen there. Often presence meets us through small relief in the body. A relaxed foot can change the rhythm of a whole evening. Let that change be slow. There is also a calm that comes from being seen without being fixed. The texts I read show a patience that holds the present, even when it is broken. Mercy moves into broken places like light through a window. It does not repair everything at once. It warms what it touches. The warmth invites recovery. One small part at a time. I read a brief section about companionship in hard nights. It mentions that even when questions crowd the mind, presence does not demand immediate answers. Instead, it stays and waits. It takes the time to be with the questions. This posture is a mercy. It lets doubt live alongside trust, without forcing one to disappear. The voice slows further. Each sentence is short and plain. This method is not for show. It is for listening. The ear receives short sentences better in a slow hour. The mind can follow without strain. Let each phrase find a place to settle. I offer an invitation to imagine a steady pair of eyes that have watched the stars be named. These eyes are gentle. They register every small motion of the heart. They remember names and faces, and the way prayers are often brief. They do not tally faults. They catalogue graces. It is a quiet, remembering the comforts. Sometimes, presence is like a hand steadying a pen. It helps write the small tasks worth doing today. It does not write for you. It steadies the stroke. The metaphor is mild and practical. It points to how divine nearness often works through ordinary hands. Now breathe again. In slowly. Out slowly. Draw attention to the rhythm that has started to slow. The lamp's sound mixes with the pulse. Allow the presence described to move close with that pulse. It is an embodied nearness. It registers as warmth and ease rather than abstract thought. The reading pauses on a line about promises that endure. These promises are not grand statements to win arguments. They are plain things that matter in the dark. A companion who stays. A mercy that returns like morning. A hope that stretches ahead like quiet light. The simple quality of these promises is their power. They do not shout. They persist. If thoughts rise, name one and let it go like a leaf on a small stream. Do not chase it. The listening here is patient. It allows thoughts to come and to drift away. The presence I read of does the same. It watches without snatching thoughts away. It watches with patient steadiness. I will now read a final short section in this part. It speaks of an everlasting presence that holds memory and hope together. Memory does not become a burden under this presence. Hope does not become a false promise. Both are cradled. The line is quiet and firm. It asks only that the heart receive the care offered. Before I close this portion, I invite one small action. Place a hand over the heart for a breath. Feel the warmth there. Say nothing aloud. Just notice. The act is a small prayer of awareness. It says, I hear. I am open to being held. This simple gesture is enough. I end this segment with a slow benediction. It is not long. It is a steady wish that the sense of presence you have heard will move close and stay through the night. That mercy will visit in small and surprising ways. That hope will sit at the edge of sleep like a faithful watchman. The page is left open for the next part. The lamp remains low. If sleep comes, rest in the steady presence just spoken of. If wakefulness lingers, carry the image of a hand at your shoulder and the steady light beside the path. In the next part, I will read a passage that traces this presence through a single life. I will keep the voice slow and the sentence is short. Stay as long as you need. The night is attentive. The word is steady. I open the Bible again with the same slow motion. The pages whisper under my fingers. The lamp keeps a soft edge. I begin this part with a line from Isaiah that feels like a balm for the anxious heart. The text tells of presence in a way that gently commands trust. It does not chide. It reassures. The passage insists that fear need not hold sway. It shows a steady promise that someone remains close in the darkest hours. It pictures an unfaltering nearness that steadies a trembling mind. The language is clear but quiet strength where there is weakness. Help in times of trouble. A hand that upholds without spectacle. I paraphrase so the words can sit easily in the ear. They are meant to be received, not analyzed. I tell a small story now. It maps one life by light and shadow. I trace how presence moves through ordinary days. It begins with a birth, a house filled with soft voices, a small, crying body that wakes the night. The first care is a warm cloth, a gentle holding, a lullaby that is more breath than song. The presence I read about is there, in that tenderness. It attends the newness. It keeps the first breath company. Years pass like pages turn slowly. The child grows and learns the cadence of the world. There are skinned knees and scraped pride. There is a sudden abrasion of loneliness on the first day of school. There are quick joys when a friend laughs. Presence walks beside these small steps as an unseen companion. It does not erase the stumbles. It steadies the foot for another try. Work arrives with regular rhythm. The life fills with tasks that sound like daily music. Hands learn tools. The mind learns problem solving. Some days feel full, others thin and tired. On evenings when the body protests, the presence shows up as rest that can be trusted. It is like a quiet chair waiting by the table. The rest does not demand productivity. It simply invites stillness. Harder things come as well. Loss touches the life. A voice goes silent. A familiar face leaves the room. The grief is not solved with quick answers. It settles deep, like a weight in the chest. Presence remains through this season too. It keeps vigil in the small acts, a meal prepared when appetite is low, a hand offered on a shoulder without a word, a memory that arrives without needing debate. These mercies are small, and they are real. There are nights of doubt. Questions grow sharp and many. The mind circles them as if they were prey. In those hours I read the Isaiah line again. Slow and deliberate. The promise there is not an explanation. It is an assurance that company will not be withdrawn. For a person in that season, the assurance feels like a quiet scaffold. It supports without requiring immediate fixes. It allows the mind to rest in the knowledge that questioning does not equal abandonment. Marriage brings its own textures. Intimacy forms in shared mornings and in whispered apologies. Daily compatibility is learned in choosing one another around the table. Presence lives in these choices. It is visible in forgiveness that returns like a repeated gesture. It shows itself in favoring another person's needs, sometimes above one's own. In tenderness, it looks like patience. Parenting amplifies the small mercies. The life grows wider by new names. Nights are more filled with care. The presence bends with that new rhythm. It teaches patience when cries repeat. It models compassion when mistakes come. It helps make space for correction that is kind. It is not loud. It is steady. Later, responsibilities shift. Children leave the home. The house feels larger. A quieter season settles. Presence does not move away. It adjusts along with the life. It becomes companion to new routines, shorter visits, solitary meals, afternoons that expand with unclaimed hours. Solitude is different when it is held by a steady nearness. It does not become loneliness by default. Illness may come in the life I map. Bodies betray youthful strength. Procedures and small rooms appear in the schedule. Fear shows up again, sometimes sharper than before. The Isaiah message meets this fear with calm words. It says that support will be present when courage flags. It promises not to let the hand slip when the path narrows. The promise is practical in tone. It looks like a nurse's careful touch, a friend's steady drive, an unexpected note left on a table. These comforts are tangible and humble. They count. There is a season of reflection, of counting and of letting go. Memories gather like coins arranged on a table. Some glitter, some are dull. Presence binds memory and hope. It does not demand that the past be rewritten. It offers a company for the reflecting mind. This company does not erase regret. It accompanies it, offering a light sufficient for the next small step forward. Throughout this single life, the presence I read about creates a sense of belonging. It does not make a person flawless. It does not insist on control. It simply keeps the space occupied by care. Belonging shows itself in moments when a person feels seen for who they are, not for who they might have been. It is the relief of recognition when confession is paired with acceptance. That relief is a mercy. There are mornings when hope is thin. The future seems muted, yet even then, the presence provides a kind of protection. Protection is not a shield against difficulty. It is a protection that creates room to grow within trouble. It looks like a cushion beneath a fall, rather than an absence of the fall. It is an assurance that what is broken can be borne without being annihilated. I pause and let the scene settle. Breathe with me. In slowly, out slowly. Imagine the life just traced as a path. The path curves and dips. Trees cast shade. The sky shifts. Along the whole route, a steady care remains. It does not always intervene. It simply keeps pace. The scripture I paraphrase assures that strength will come when we are weak. It promises firm support when courage wanes. This is not an abstract claim. It is practical. It looks like a neighbor bringing food. It looks like a hand guided through a hospital hallway. It looks like a quiet readiness to listen late into the night. These are the textures of belonging and protection. I take a moment to speak directly to you listening. You may carry a tired heart. You may have a life mapped differently from the small story I told. The promise still applies. The assurance moves toward anyone who is afraid. It offers steadiness without demanding a perfect response. Belonging is not earned. It is given. If it helps, place a hand on the part of the chest where thoughts often gather. Feel the subtle heat there. That small touch is a consent to be cared for. It does not solve everything, but it opens a tiny door. The presence I describe will step through gently. As I continue, the language stays plain. I do not ask the mind to solve problems tonight. I only ask it to notice mercy where it appears. A call returned. A small kindness. A moment of sleep that stretches longer than expected. These are the ways protection often arrives. There will be more nights when fear presses in. The Isaiah line remains a steady resource. It does not shout. It promises company and a help that is near. The promise is not of immediate removal of trouble. It is of persistent support. It is a companion who does not take leave at the first sign of difficulty. I read again, softer now. reminding you of the invitation embedded in these words. The invitation is to trust the presence for one small thing tonight. Allow a breath to be easier. Let one shoulder relax. Sleep for 10 minutes if possible. Accept a short rest as a gift rather than a failure. These small movements matter. I will close this part with a brief prayer of blessing, offered in quiet tone. It is a wish that the company you have heard about will draw near as you rest, that you will feel protected in small, ordinary ways. That belonging will settle like a warm shawl around the shoulders. I say this as one who reads the word into the night, not as one who demands responses. Receive the blessing if it suits you. Reject it for now, if you must. Both choices are respected. Stay with the hush a moment longer. Let the life pictured move into your own in a few gentle touches. Notice one small thing that brought you comfort today. Keep that with you like a pebble. In the next part, I will read another passage that shows how presence tucks mercy into ordinary acts. The pace will stay slow. The sentences will stay short. Rest now, and let the promise of comfort and protection sleep beside you. I turn the page and find an invitation. The line from Matthew sits there like a small door. I do not quote it. I only carry its spirit into the room. It calls to the tired. It asks the weary to come and to lay down what is heavy. Tonight I let those words shape this quiet hour. I read slowly. I let the rhythm be simple. The language is plain. The invitation is gentle. Come with your burdens. Come with the knot of worry. Come with the ache that will not name itself. The promise that follows is soft. It says rest can be given. It says the body and mind may find ease. I ask you to imagine a small basket beside the bedside lamp. The basket is woven from patient hands. It is open and waiting. It has room enough for one long trouble and many small ones. I tell you to picture your burdens gathered like laundry. Each item has a shape. Each has weight. Some are very old. Some are new. I pause. Breathe with me. In slowly. Out slowly. With each slow breath, notice one small weight. Name it without speech. Perhaps it is a fear held for a loved one. Perhaps it is a day that did not go as hoped. Perhaps it is a shame that sits on the chest. Let that thing appear in the mind as if it were an object. Now imagine lifting that object and placing it into the basket. See the motion clearly. Your hands open. The shoulders drop a fraction. There is no rush. The act is simple. It is an honest offering. A small loosened knot is a real change. The basket receives the burden without judgment. The weave holds it like a friend would hold a coat. I suggest another image. Think of a cord tied around the worry. You undo one loop at a time. There is no need to untie the whole length at once. A single loop undone brings relief. Let the breath match the undoing. In with the breath to gather courage. Out with the breath to loosen the knot. If you prefer a different picture, imagine handing a small iron key across a table. The key opens no door for you tonight. It is a key to a lock you carried for years. Let it pass into another palm. The action is a practical letting go. It frees the hand That freedom moves through the arm and settles in the ribs. I keep the sentences short, so a tired ear can follow. The ideas are not new. They are simple. They are kind. They are meant to be practical. If thought habits have made the burdens feel like part of you, treat them like clothing you can remove. You do not need to throw away what matters. You only need to set it down for a while. The invitation in Matthew is like that. It does not require you to fix everything. It asks you to come. The coming is itself an act of trust. It is small. It is honest. It says, here I am with what I carry. I place it somewhere else for a while. I will not need to hold it through the night. I read a few more lines. I paraphrase the promise that the weight will be changed. Lightness is not an instant erasure. It is a shift in how the weight is borne. Imagine a pack on the back. Someone takes the straps and eases the load. The pack does not vanish, but the shoulders relax. The breath returns to a fuller rhythm. This is a real and tender gift. There is a practical method I offer, if it helps. Take a tiny slip of paper in your mind. Write one worry on it. Fold it and place it in the basket. Repeat for another small thing. You will not do this for every fear tonight. Choose one or two. The process trains hands to loosen. It trains the mind to accept relief in small measures. I speak about confession softly. The act of naming matters. To keep a worry unnamed is often to inflate it. To name it is to define it, and to make it movable. You do not have to explain. You only have to point. A single sentence whispered in the mind is enough. I sometimes say that aloud in my room. But there is no need. The mind knows how to form those few words. There will be nights when the basket looks full. Do not be surprised. You may only lay down one thread of a heavy rope. That single act remains meaningful. Rest builds slowly. The evening that follows may still carry noise. Sleep may not come immediately. The rest you receive is not measured only by sleep. It is measured by the easing in the chest and the space that forms for gentleness. I read a phrase that encourages trade. Bring what you hold. Receive rest in return. The exchange is not a market deal. It is a gift that expects nothing of you in return. A tired heart can accept it without producing a proof. That is mercy at work. It blesses without demanding recompense. Allow a breath now to stretch longer than before. In slowly. Hold for a small count. Out slowly. Repeat once more. With each cycle, imagine the burden in the basket becoming lighter. The threads that held it taut begin to fray and fall away. The object itself may change in shape. It may dissolve into something small and soft. If it seems too big, make it a pebble. If it seems too sharp, let it become sand that slips through fingers. I speak about resting in trust rather than certainty. Trust often comes in small degrees. It is okay if all you can do tonight is to place your hand lightly on the basket's rim. The touch itself is a surrender. It is permission given to someone else to carry a while. If you can step further and leave a burden there, do so. If not, the touch is enough work for one evening. I share a brief ritual that has helped me. I imagine closing the basket with a lid of quiet. I do not lock it. I just cover it to make the room orderly. That small cover signals an intention to rest. It is a gentle boundary. It asks the mind to stop immediate rummaging. It tells the heart that tonight the basket will be tended by another hand. Do not expect a lightning change. The world remains wide, but small relief matters. A lighter ribcage changes how the night is held. Muscles that can release learn new rhythm. Breath deepens. Sleep in small portions becomes more possible. Peace arrives in the grace. I also speak about forgiveness in this moment. Sometimes the heaviest burden is a record kept of past wrong. The invitation to come includes bringing those records too. You do not need to erase memory. You can set down the ledger. Let the act be more about unburdening than about absolving. Release does not always depend on full reconciliation. It sometimes depends only on letting the ledger sit in the basket for a night. There is room here for hope, not a loud certainty. A small, patient expectancy, the kind that watches the sky for dawn without forcing the sun. Hope is the quiet confidence that a good rest can change the tone of a day to come. It may not remove every trouble, but it will sharpen the eyes for small mercies in the morning. I invite you now to choose a single tiny action. It could be in the imagination alone. Lift one small weight. Place it in the basket. Close your hand. Breathe. Feel a small easing in the chest. Let that be enough. You do not owe more work tonight. Accept the relief for what it is. Before I end this part, I offer a short benediction of sorts. I am not a priest. I am a reader with a lamp. I give a steady wish. May the act of laying down one burden tonight make room for gentleness to enter. May sleep, if it comes, be softer. May the morning hold surprises of small mercy. The room grows quieter. The Bible rests in my lap. The basket in the picture sits near the bedside. The invitation remains easy and present. Come as you are. Lay down one thing. Rest a little lighter. In the next part, I will read another passage that teaches how mercy moves through small tasks. I will keep the pace slow. I will keep the sentences short. Stay where you are. Let the basket hold the burdens already placed. Let the chest find a softer rhythm. The night keeps watch. The word remains steady. The lamp is lower still. The Bible lies open on my lap. I breathe slow and steady. I speak in short phrases. The night listens. Tonight, I ask you to notice small mercies. Not big events. Small ones. A cup warmed your hands. A door opened when you needed it. A laugh came at the edge of a hard day. A quiet street let you walk without hurry. A song found you in a moment you did not expect. These are the soft footprints of grace. Pause with me. Breathe in. Breathe out. Picture 3 small things that touched you today. They can be tiny. Let them come without force. Name them in the mind one by one. Do not explain them. Just see them like bright stones. Hold the first stone in memory. Feel its texture. Let a small warmth rise where the chest sits. Breathe in to receive that warmth. Breathe out to let it spread through the ribs. Now, picture the second stone. Notice the shape. Welcome it. Breathe. The third stone. Now, let it rest on the palm of the heart for a moment. Do not rush the feeling. Gratitude is not a task. It is a soft noticing, like letting light fall on a page. The light does not demand more than it gives. It simply makes what is already there visible. Allow a gentle gratitude to stay with the next breath. It changes how the night holds the body. I read a simple line from Scripture now. I do not read it in a way that debates. I let it sit like a small hand on the shoulder. The words say that blessings are signs of love. They remind us that every small kindness points back to a patient care. Take that idea in. Imagine each small mercy as a thread that links the heart to something larger than itself. The links do not have to be loud. They only need to hold. That gratitude opens a quiet space for another gift, forgiveness. I turn to this next part with care. Forgiveness is not a command to forget. It is an invitation to unburden. It is a slow work. It may take many nights. Still, tonight we can begin. I read a passage that asks us to forgive as we have been forgiven. The idea is plain. Mercy has been given. Mercy invites a return. Hear it as a soft promise rather than a heavy duty. The promise says, what weighs you down need not stay on your back. There is a way to lay it down. Little by little. Picture a small river in the mind. The water is calm. Place one small guilt, one sharp regret, into the water as if it were a leaf. Watch the leaf drift. It does not disappear in a puff. It moves. The current carries it with gentleness. The leaf becomes a small thing again. Not the whole story. Let the image stay for a breath. Forgiveness toward oneself often begins with a tiny recognition. Name one thing about yourself that feels heavy. Say it quietly inside. Do not make a list. One item will do for now. Breathe in and hold the name. Breathe out and let the air carry a portion of the weight away. Repeat once. The act of naming is itself a small release. It is mercy given to a worn place. There is a mercy that comes by remembering that forgiveness was first received. Think of a time when someone offered you an unearned kindness. Recall how that act eased a tight place in the chest. That memory can be a model. We were forgiven first. That pattern helps us loosen demands against others and against ourselves. The memory is a hinge. Use it slowly. Forgiving another does not mean excusing harm. It does not require forgetting or staying where danger remains. It can mean choosing not to carry the debt. Imagine an old ledger with heavy pages. One by one, close a page. Put the ledger on a shelf for tonight. The ledger still exists. You still know the entries. But you do not carry it on the path to sleep. If reconciliation is safe and possible, it can come later. Tonight we practice release, not solutions. Let the release be an act of self-care. Let it be an act of trust that some burdens need not be clutched through the night. Breath can be the instrument of letting go. Try this with me. Breathe in and name the hurt silently. Breathe out and imagine passing it from your hand into a larger one, into a space of light, into a pool, into the earth. The image can be anything that feels like handing off weight. The motion is small. It is honest. Repeat up to 3 times, if it helps. Each time the shoulders may drop a fraction. Each time the jaw may unclench a degree. Scripture invites bearing with one another and forgiving as we have been forgiven. I let that idea rest simple and plain. It points to a practice more than a theory. The practice is patient. It begins in small steps. It does not demand perfection. It simply offers the path. Someday, a fuller healing may appear. For now, accept the first small opening. If anger rises, acknowledge it without shame. If pain resurfaces, name it with a soft voice in the mind. If numbness sits heavy, allow it to sit like a quiet visitor. Forgiveness moves in its own time. It will not be rushed without harm. There are practical edges to mercy too. If boundaries must be set them clearly. Forgiveness can exist alongside wise distance. Let the two live together. Mercy does not always mean closeness. It often means freedom from the need for revenge. It is a kind of inner release that keeps a person safe. I offer a tiny ritual. Find a quiet place on the bed or a chair. Place one hand over the heart. Breathe and feel the warmth of the palm. In the mind, say a short sentence. I choose to lay this down for a time. Do not demand immediate change. Let the sentence be as simple as a knot loosened. Wait a moment. Feel the breath move. Know that the chest has room now to soften. If it helps, imagine light gathering in that hand over the heart. The light is not a proof of being right. It is a tender presence warming what is cold. Let it rest a minute. Allow small tears if they come. They are a language of release and of relief. Forgiveness is also a gift to the future. When one forgives, the next day can begin lighter. Old grievances do not crowd the morning. A quiet pocket of space appears where new mercies may enter. That pocket might host a rest tonight. That pocket might hold a gentler dream. I read again a short paraphrase of Scripture about mercy and pardon. It is not a debate. It is a reassurance we are invited to receive mercy and to pass it on. No one must perform perfectly. Mercy meets us in the small things we can do. Take one small step tonight. Let it be enough. Before this part closes, take another breath with me. In slowly, hold for a small count. Out slowly. Imagine the 3 small blessings found earlier, resting gently beside the burdens you have set down. Let gratitude and forgiveness sit together like 2 candles on a bedside table. They throw a steady, mild light. A brief blessing now. May a sense of pardon ease the jaw and soften the brows. May gratitude warm the sleep that follows. May mercy sit at the edge of your dreams like a quiet sentinel. Receive this if it helps. Decline it if you must. Both choices are respected. The Bible pages close with no rush. The lamp remains low. In the next part, I will read a passage that shows mercy in small acts of service. The pace will be deliberate and kind. Stay as long as you need. Rest may come now. If it does, let it be gentle. If it waits, keep the quiet with me for a little longer. The night holds both. The word holds both. I lower the lamp by a notch. The room keeps its hush. The Bible rests open. I name the passage in my mind and let its tone shape the hour. Tonight, I turn to the letters that speak of grace. They come like a soft gift. They do not demand. They offer. I read slowly and gently. The lines I draw from the text speak of a grace that meets weakness. They tell of a power that is made perfect, not in strength, but in small, honest lack. I do not argue the point. I let the idea rest like a warm cloth over a tired shoulder. The truth is simple. Grace arrives where ability fades. Imagine a small lamp on a low table. The lamp is not large. It is enough. It throws a circle of light just big enough for one book and two hands. Grace is like that lamp. It does not flood the room at once. It steadies the small space where we sit. When the hands tremble, the light steadies them. When the heart feels raw, the lamp offers a calm circle to rest within. There is a passage that says, "The newness of life is possible through this gift." It pictures a slow remaking. Old things pass. New things quietly grow. This is not a sudden erasure. It is a patient shaping. A small garden begins when a single seed is planted. Grace is the soil that receives the seed. It does not boast. It nourishes. I speak of weakness without judgment. The Bible I read names weakness as a place where grace works. This frees the tired heart from needing to appear whole. Allowing the true shape of a wound becomes a kind of honesty that grace meets. The voice in the text seems to say, you need not hide every fracture. Here is something to attend to those cracks with care. Forgiveness moves under the same light. I do not lecture about right and wrong. I point to the way grace opens a small door for reconciliation. When a ledger of hurts feels heavy, grace offers not an eraser but a hand to carry the burden for a while. That hand does not approve the harm. It simply bears the weight long enough that a weary person can breathe again. Think of a cloak offered at the end of a cold day. The cloak does not change the weather. It warms the shoulders. It makes the next steps possible. This cloak is grace. It covers shame and softens the sharp edges of regret. It is given, not earned. The simple act of receiving it is itself a small practice. I ask you to sit with a single small image now. Picture a shallow bowl of water on the table. It catches the lamplight and holds it without fuss. Place a single leaf upon the surface. Watch the leaf rest, and then slowly drift. The leaf does not disappear with a show. It moves gently. This is the motion of grace with a burden. It carries without spectacle. Breathe with me. In slowly, out slowly, with each breath. Imagine the bowl widening a hair. Let the leaf have more room. Let the chest gain a small space. The act of breathing becomes a quiet agreement to accept what is offered. The lungs fill. The mind takes in the image. Grace tends the small loosenings. I also read a line that speaks of reconciliation as a work entrusted to those who receive grace. This is not pressure. It is an invitation. Being held by grace changes how one treats others. A heart that remembers being carried grows softer toward the faults of another. This gentleness is practical. It begins in small things, a tolerant word, a patient pause, a withheld retort. Mercy moves in tiny steps. If forgiving another feels unsafe, do not rush. Grace does not force proximity. It can coexist with wise distance. The gift I describe allows one to release the inward ledger without accepting harm again. A boundary can be tender and firm at once. The text comforts those who must protect themselves while still holding mercy in their mind. There is a gentle paradox I read and repeat. Strength sometimes comes by receiving help. Power can be gentleness, made available to the weak. The text frames this as good news rather than correction. It calls the tired to lay down the weight long enough to feel the true weight of help. Let that be permission for tonight, permission to accept care without performing for it. I suggest a tiny practice. Place one hand over the heart. Put the other hand on the shallow space of the belly. Breathe in and imagine a soft, light pooling beneath the hands. It is not a brilliant light. It is a warm, steady glow in the mind. Let the words form, I receive what I did not earn. Say them inwardly once. Do not rush the meaning. Let the chest register the small release. For self-forgiveness, a small ritual helps. Close the eyes if comfortable. Name one thing you will not carry tonight. Keep it small. Do not attempt to empty the whole ledger. Place that single named item in the bowl of water in your mind. Watch it float. Breathe. Know that the bowl can hold more in time. For now, let this one thing have rest. The letters I read offer an image of a ministering hand that brings reconciliation between estranged people. I think of two chairs with a low table between them. The table holds a cup of tea and a shared light. Reconciliation is not always a reunion of grand gestures. It often starts with two small acts, one person making the first soft move, another accepting that move. Grace sets the table and warms the cups. I do not press for immediate resolution. I only encourage a posture of openness. If conversation is possible tomorrow, let tomorrow be the time. Tonight is for accepting the gift of grace. It shapes the heart so that when the morning comes, the voice may be softer and more ready to listen. There is a line in the letters that I keep returning to. It emphasizes that boasting is not the point. The point is the work done in us by a steady kindness. Pride does not help the tired. Quid gratitudas. If you notice yourself measuring worth by achievements, set that measure aside tonight. Value is not a ledger of deeds. It is a welcome received. Imagine placing a small stone by the lamp. On one side is carved a short memory of grace you once received. It can be small, a kind word, a hand that stayed, a night when a friend called. Let the stone be a reminder in the dark. When worry rises, turn your eyes to the stone. Let the memory be a proof lived of generosity that once came. Grace is not theoretical. It has footprints. I speak now of hope that rests on this gift. Hope is not a loud cheer. It is a patient expectancy. It looks for the next small kindness. It trusts that where help has come before, it can come again. The letters encourage holding this hope gently. Do not demand roaring answers. Look instead for small mercies in the day to come. If sleep approaches, let it be welcomed. If wakefulness stays, let the practice continue. Sit with the bowl image. Place another small leaf if you wish. Keep the lamp low and the breathing soft. The task tonight is not to fix everything. It is to receive and to practice being carried each time the hand relaxes. Grace does a little work that accumulates. Before I close this part, I offer a small blessing. It is a quiet wish shaped by the text, "May the gift of grace find the cracks and not force them closed too quickly. May it steady the hands and ease the chest. May forgiveness begin as a small motion in the mind and grow into a gentle disposition. Take the blessing if it helps. Set it down like one more stone beside the lamp. The page rests flat on my lap. The lamp keeps its circle. The bowl of water and the cloak remain in the mind's eye. If you choose, place a hand over the heart one more time. Breathe in a lengthened breath. Let the shoulders drop. Let the small light in the chest work quietly. Tonight, grace is a gift to receive, not a task to perfect. I will come back with another passage in the next part. It will show how grace moves into service and into quiet acts of love. For now, remain where you are. Let the small changes settle. Let the night hold the easing. The word waits gently. I will read again when the hour asks for it. The lamp keeps its warm circle. The Bible lies open. I place my hand lightly on the page and breathe. The night listens. I read aloud in a soft voice. My words move slowly. They come like small steps. I begin with a passage I return to often. It tells of a thorn that will not leave. It tells of a weakness that stays. The verse I think of says a strength comes in the very place that feels empty. Grace is spoken of as enough. It fills the gaps. It does not scold for failing. It meets the broken place with a hand that steadies. I paraphrase that line gently. When one is weak, help is near. When one is worn, kindness is given. The promise is quiet. It does not roar. It says the world need not be fixed by one exhausted soul. There is a larger care at work. It asks only to be received. Imagine a small cup on a bedside table. The cup is chipped. It still holds warm tea. The warmth eases the hands. The cup does not hide the chip. It makes it part of its story. Grace is like that cup. It accepts the cracks and keeps the warmth where the hands can reach it. I ask you to breathe with me. In slowly, out slowly. Let the thought of sufficiency be no larger than the breath. No need to correct or prove. The breath itself becomes a small practice of acceptance. I speak of imperfections now. The heart often keeps a list. The list grows heavy in the dark. I do not offer rules to remove it. I offer a simple posture. Bring one item from the list into the light of this room. Name it silently. Let it sit on the palm of the mind. See its edges. Acknowledge the weight. Then lay it down for a moment. Lay it down, not because it is erased. Lay it down because the night is for rest. Let the grace that fills the room be like a blanket laid over the thing. The blanket does not solve every knot. It softens the shoulders enough to sleep. In the morning, a clearer eye may return to the task. For tonight, accept the relief. I remember a small story from my own life. A long season of trying to be enough. I measured worth by success and by tidy performance. Fatigue became a constant companion. One evening, I read the simple sentence about strength in weakness. I closed the book and let myself rest. I placed a hand over the place that hurt the most. The hand felt foolish at first. Then it felt honest. It was an offering, not a performance. That small offering moved something in the chest. It allowed a breath to deepen. Grace works in similar small moves. It does not require a final answer. It asks only a willingness to be helped. To accept help is not shameful. It is humble and practical. It is what a tired person does when help is within reach. Now I turn the page to another passage. The heading says only one letter, H. I think of a chapter that speaks of faith as a foundation. The chapter tells the names of many who trusted through dark seasons. It does not parade perfection. It simply names a trust that held through the night. I read softly about a foundation, laid not on shifting ground but on a steady promise. The image is of a house built by hands that knew storms. When rain comes, the house leans on the deep ground. The house does not deny the rain. It stands because of the solid earth beneath. Faith in this chapter looks like trust measured in small acts. One simple act rising each morning and continuing, another choosing kindness, even when the heart wants to recoil. Small faith is not a single grand belief. It is a pattern of returning. It is the habit of turning a face toward trust. Again and again. I ask you to imagine a stone path. Each stone is a small step of faith. The steps do not have to be large. A single steady stone is enough for tonight. Place your foot on it. Feel the steadiness below. Know that the path continues beyond what can be seen. The next stone is not demanded now. One small step is sufficient for this hour. The chapter I read lists ordinary people. It names their fears and their courage. It points not to perfection but to persistence. The lesson is calm. Roots grow slowly. Trust deepens in ordinary soil. The foundation of faith is built by these small, repeated choices. I paraphrase another line that stays with me. Faith sees what is not yet visible and trusts by a small decision. That decision can be as quiet as opening a window in the morning. It lets fresh air in. It does not empty the room of its history. It simply allows a new breath. If doubt comes, it is not a sign of failure. Doubt often walks alongside faith. It can even shape the faith into something truer. The chapter does not promise absence of question. It shows how trust persists in the presence of questions. That persistence becomes the foundation. Hold a hand for a moment over the heart. Feel the pulse. The pulse is steady work. It does not declare triumph. It simply continues. Faith is like that, a steady, small work beneath the visible life. It keeps the house upright when the storms arrive. I read a brief passage about how past kindnesses help form the ground underfoot. Past mercies collect like stones in a dry riverbed. When the rains come, those stones slow the flow. They redirect water into places that will bear life. Remember one past mercy tonight? Put a small name to it. Let it be a stone under your foot. Do not expect answers tonight. Expect presence. The foundation of faith is not a lecture. It is a company. It is a way of living with the unknown that makes room for mercy. The chapter invites the weary to rest on that company. It invites a simple trust that the work of care continues even when hands are heavy. I offer a small exercise. Think of one tiny thing you can do tomorrow that trusts rather than proves. It may be as small as sitting in the sun for a minute, calling a friend for 2 sentences, or choosing one meal without guilt. The act is not heroic. It is a laying of another stone on the path. Keep it small. Keep it gentle. Breathing again helps. In slowly. Hold a gentle count. Out slowly. With each breath, imagine the foundation of faith as warmth beneath the feet. The warmth is not a blaze. It is a patient heat. It reassures the foot that the next step can be trusted. I also speak of community in this chapter. Faith is not only private. It often grows when others hold the light for a while. A neighbor who brings bread. A friend who sits in silence. These small supports are part of the foundation. If loneliness presses, remember that the path has companions. Visible and unseen, there is a quiet promise woven through both passages I read tonight. Grace meets weakness. Faith forms a foundation. The two work together. When strength fails, grace steadies the body. When doubt appears, faith keeps a small hope alive. The two are not contradictory. They are companions. I suggest a tiny ritual before sleep. Place one hand over the heart. With the other, imagine setting one small worry into an open palm. Do not fix everything. Offer only that one thing. Say nothing aloud. Breathe and let a simple thought come. Help is near. The thought need not be loud. The wrist may relax a fraction. The jaw may soften. The body will thank the small change. I end this part with a calm wish. May the sufficiency of grace warm the weary places tonight. May the foundation of faith feel like steady ground underfoot. May accepting help become a small habit that gives rest. Accept the offer if it suits the heart. Decline for now if the earlier step still needs time. Either choice is held gently. The lamp is low. The page closes almost without sound. If sleep comes, carry these small images into the turning hours. If wakefulness remains, sit with the steady promise a while longer. In the next part, I will read a passage that maps mercy into daily act. I will keep the pace slow and the sentences short. Stay as you need. The word remains beside the bed. I turn the page with care. The lamp makes a small pool of light. The room breathes with us. Tonight, I place a short line before us from Hebrews in my mind. I do not read it, word for word. I carry its heart into the room. It speaks of faith as something sure. It calls faith a kind of bedrock beneath the feet. It calls faith a quiet conviction about things not yet visible. I speak slowly about that image. Bedrock sits below the soil. It is steady beneath storms. A house on bedrock holds when wind comes. A road on bedrock does not wash away. Faith, like that, is not flashy. It is slow and deep. It asks for trust rather than proof. It holds when sight fails. Imagine walking at dawn in a thick fog. The path vanishes a few steps ahead. The foot finds no clear line. Still. A steady rock underfoot keeps the step true. The ground does not move even when the eye cannot see. That underlayer is faith. It supports 1 foot at a time. It lets the traveler take small steps without panic. I picture a root system under a great oak. The roots do their work in the dark. They do not make noise. They send up life. The tree does not owe any flourish to those roots. Yet without them, the tree falls. Faith often works like those roots. It nourishes the visible life in ways that stay unseen. This idea is gentle. It does not demand sudden certainty. It says a quiet trust can be enough for one night. It invites the tired to lean on a promise rather than on immediate answers. Trust here is practical. It is the small choice to move 1 foot forward when the way is unclear. I also think of a lighthouse cutting through fog. The beam is narrow. It does not show the whole coast. It offers a hint of line and a place to aim. Faith sometimes looks like that beam. It does not end uncertainty. It gives a direction. Follow that thin light. Take the next step. I read these images softly. My voice rests on each phrase. The aim is calm. I invite the heart to accept a small trust, not a grand manifesto, not a full solution, a single, steady trust for the night. Allow that trust to be the bedrock under the feet. Now I move to prayer. Calmness through prayer is not a magic trick. It is a practice of turning the heart toward the steady presence we name. It is a simple ritual of handing over one small thing at a time. I lead a brief prayer that wants only to steady the breath and quiet the mind. Find a posture that feels restful. Close the eyes if that helps. Place one hand over the chest. Feel the rise and fall. Let the other hand rest where it will. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a small count. Exhale slowly. Repeat with me twice more. Let the breaths lengthen by a fraction. Let the body notice the change. I pray out loud in a soft voice. I do not use ornate words. I speak plain sentences. I name weariness. I name hope. I hold the names lightly. I begin by offering a quiet admission. I say that the evening brings all that the day held. I place joy and worry side by side. I hold the small anxious thing I carried today and bring it before the steady one who keeps watch. I do not try to explain everything. I simply point. I ask for calm. I ask for a softening of the clenched places. I ask that shoulders learn to lower. I request a steadiness for thoughts that hurry. I invite rest to move into the chest like warm water. The ask is gentle. It does not demand immediate healing. It asks only for ease, enough for sleep, or for peace enough to keep awake without turmoil. I offer trust now. I say that faith is the bedrock beneath the step. I ask for a willingness to trust that bedrock tonight. If the foot trembles, let it be steadied by a quiet promise. If the mind doubts, let trust be small and practical. Give me the courage to take one step more. Let that step be enough. I bring gratitude into the prayer. I speak of small mercies. I name one soft thing from the day, a cup of warmth, a short kindness, a moment of beauty. I let gratitude be a lamp in the dark. The light is small but real. It recalls that kindness has touched the day already. That memory makes trust more possible. I pray for mercy. I do not weigh the word down. Mercy, here is the permission to be imperfect tonight. It is the allowance to let some work be unfinished. It is the quiet acceptance that one need not be whole to be loved. I ask for this mercy to rest on the shoulders like a light shawl. I include a short request for others. I ask that those who carry heavy burdens feel relief. I ask that those who fear the night find a hand at their shoulder. I do not solve their stories. I merely bring them into the light by name. Naming is a small act of care. I close the prayer with a simple surrender. I trust the steady care to hold what I cannot. I lay down one small worry into that care. I do not try to lift everything tonight. I choose one thing and place it into the hands I trust. The action is precise. It is manageable. It is real. After the prayer, I sit in quiet for a breath or two. Silence is not empty. It is the space in which the prayer can sit and settle. Let the quiet be companionable. Let the calm sink a few degrees lower into the ribs. If sleep comes now, let it. If wakefulness remains, let the mind rest beside the silence. Here is a short practice you can keep. Each night, choose one worry to set aside. Make it a small, single thing. Name it once. Breathe and place it into the bedrock of faith. Then do one small act of trust in the morning. A tiny step. It might be stepping outside for a minute, calling an old friend, or simply making the bed. These small moves gather into a habit. Faith deepens like water in soil. I also offer a short sentence you may repeat silently as you breathe. Use whatever words calm you. Call them a tether. For me, the phrase is simple and soft. I say quietly, steady beneath my feet. Say it inwardly once on the in-breath. Say it again on the out-breath. Let each repetition be a small anchor. Do not measure results tonight. Do not demand a sudden change. Let the practice be gentle, like the steady drip of rain that fills a well. Small, repeated actions matter more than one dramatic motion. If emotions arise, do not push them away. Name them briefly and return to the breath. If memory presses, let it be seen and then let it rest. The bedrock of faith is not the erasing of feeling. It is the steadiness that holds while feeling moves. I end this part with a brief blessing, offered as one who reads the word in the quiet hour. May faith be a bedrock tonight, steady under unsteady feet. May prayer be a calm doorway through which peace can enter. May mercy soften hard edges and hope sit like a small lamp beside the bed. Receive these words. If they suit you, let them rest or set them aside. Either choice is honored. The book closes gently for a moment. The lamp keeps its low light. If sleep calls, follow it. If wakefulness stays, keep the quiet with me a little longer. In the next part, I will read about trust lifting the gaze toward morning. I will keep the voice soft, and the sentence is short. Stay as long as you need. The night keeps watch. The word remains steady beneath our steps. I set the Bible down for a moment. The lamp keeps its low halo. The page stays open to a place I visited earlier. Tonight, after the passages, I tell a small story. It is a simple tale of renewal. It moves slowly and stays near the ordinary. I begin with a person who once loved small gardens. Their hands learn the soil early. They know how to press a seed just so. Years pass. And life presses harder. Work becomes a long list. A friend leaves. A doctor names a word that tastes like winter. The garden shrinks. Pots stay empty. The seeds sit in a drawer. Hope grows thin like an old rope. One autumn arrives like a slow exhale. The person walks at dusk to a market and pauses at a stall where small plants wait in plastic cups. A single sprig of green lifts toward the light. Something in the chest stirs. The sprig is not dramatic. It will not solve the ledger of loss. It asks only for a place. That small request feels possible tonight. The plant comes home in a paper bag. It sits on the windowsill. Water is minimal. Care is consistent. Each evening, the person returns and lightly touches the soil. Their fingers remember how to loosen a hard place. The motion is small. It wakes a muscle of attention that had long been asleep. The scalp of worry does not vanish, but the hands find a task other than carrying complaints. A neighbor notices the pot by the window. The neighbor brings a folded newspaper with a clipping about a community plot. The clipping is modest. It mentions open hands and shared tools. The person reads it in the lamplight. The words do not demand a change. They simply show a way a little larger than the windowsill. The first visit to the community plot is slow and awkward. Tools are strange again in the hand. The soil resists at first. The person bends as if remembering how to breathe. Other gardeners work without spectacle. They offer a trowel without comment. A small bowl of tea rests on a crate. The act of sharing is ordinary. This ordinariness begins to heal odd places. At the plot, a child laughs at a beetle. A dog sleeps near a shaded row. Someone hums an old hymn quietly while planting. The sound is soft and steady. It does not have to be explained. The person plants a seed in a patch of reclaimed earth and feels a surprising permission to hope for the next season. The hope is small. It is not a rush toward brightness. It is a quiet, leaning into the future. A week passes. A green tip appears. The person notices it first with the eyes, then with the breath. A small, involuntary lift occurs inside the chest. It is like noticing a useful echo. The body remembers how to expect gentle returns. The seed does not make promises beyond its nature. It does what seeds do. Yet the act of watching a small miracle in slow motion is healing. It recalibrates the interior clock. Work remains hard. The doctor's word remains true. But now there is a rhythm outside the ledger of pain. The watering becomes a small liturgy. The person speaks no sermons. They say nothing fancy. They bend. They water. They wait. These actions are practical prayers. The hands speak the language the mind cannot yet use. One evening, an old friend comes by. They sit on the porch and look at the plot. The friend brings no advice. They bring a jar of preserved peaches and 2 simple plates. They eat slowly as the dark settles. The conversation is short and steady. There is room for silence. The presence of another human being at the same table becomes evidence that life can carry companionable weight. Slowly, habits rearrange. The person begins to rise before dawn sometimes. The early air feels like a secret shared between the world and 2 or 3 low birds. The body finds a small edge of strength. The aches do not disappear, but they reframe as parts of a life that still holds tasks able to be done. One morning a storm arrives. The plot lies in rain. Some plants bend nearly to the ground. The person runs with a tarp. In the rush of moving, breath becomes a work. The body responds. The hands know the muscles even when the heart is thin. The tarp keeps the young shoots from snapping. The act of saving a small life under a wet sky becomes a kind of hope strong enough to take up space in prayer. As the seasons turn, the plot grows a modest yield. Beans climb a string. Tomatoes split with a sudden blush. The person brings a basket to the gate and walks it to the neighbor who once shared the clipping. The neighbor's face brightens. The gesture is small and private. It is not meant to be noticed by many. It is a quiet exchange. That modest generosity rewires the sense of worth that had been measured only by performance. I tell this not as a fairy tale. I say it as a patient witness. The change is not dramatic. It happens in small acts, piled upon one another. Each small act is an ordinary merciful thing. Water, tending, sharing, eating. Each is simple and enough for a day. In the midst of this slow renewal, nights still come where the heart tightens. Dreams are jagged and the old fear visits like a familiar weather. Yet even in those hours, the person practices small tools they learnt at the plot. They set a cup of warm water by the bedside. They place the Bible open to a single, gentle passage. They whisper a brief, thank you for a single mercy from the day no grand list. Simply one small item. Sometimes the mercy is a small kindness from a child who picks a dandelion and offers it to the person with the awkward hands. Sometimes it is a short phone call from someone who says only that they heard a tune and it made them think of you. These are not sweeping transformations. They are little lights along the path. One clear morning, the person walks to the plot and finds a neighbor has left a small card pinned to a fence post. The card says nothing loud. It offers a single line of encouragement written in a shaky hand. The person keeps the card in a drawer and reads it on days when the weather is grey. The line on the paper becomes a stone underfoot. It supports a step forward when the path looks fogged. Renewal in this story is not the removal of all difficulty. The doctor's word remains. The bills gather. Complicated grief visits at odd moments. But the person finds a different relation to those things. They become parts of a fuller life rather than the whole of it. Hope returns in fragments. These fragments are enough. One evening, I watched them from the opposite side of a small table. The lamp casts 2 circles of light. I read a short passage from the Bible and then step back to the story. The person listens without needing to fix everything. They breathe with the page. The story of renewal sits beside them, like a seed planted in their palm. I ask you now to imagine this plot for a moment. See the rows, the small trellises, the mugs placed on a low wall. Hear the soft footfalls of someone moving through the dirt. Smell the damp soil. Taste, if you like, the sweetness of a fresh tomato cut into honest pieces. Let the image rest on the palette of your mind. If there is an ache in your chest tonight, think on one small action you might take tomorrow, no heavy plans. A short walk, a call of 3 sentences, a cup of tea shared with someone at the edge of experience. Choose something small that can be done without grand courage. Let that small step be an offering to your own slow recovery. I close this tale with a plain sentence. Renewal often begins small. It is a plant in a pot, a neighbour's guaiac, a bowl of tea, a short blessing left on a fence post. These things gather into a life that can carry sorrow and still hold beauty. They do not deny the night. They make room for morning. I return to the Bible now and place a finger on the page. The lamp is low. The room breathes soft. If sleep comes, let the story of the garden travel with you. Let it be a small companion. If wakefulness stays, hold the image of the hands in soil and the simple gift of a neighbor. Let that image cradle you for a while. Before I close this part, a small benediction. May a tiny mercy find you tomorrow. May one ordinary act begin the long work of repair. May a neighbor arrive with a trowel or a song. May the heart learn again the quiet habit of care. I will turn the page after a slow breath. The next part will read a short passage about patience and waiting. The voice will stay simple. The sentences will remain small. Rest, now if you can. If not, keep the lamp low and the seed in mind. The night holds both the tired and the hopeful. The word keeps watch beside the bed. I lift the Bible and settle it where the lamp spills the least. The page breathes beneath my thumb. I let the room shrink to the small circle of light. I read slowly. My voice rests on each word. Tonight, I keep a single promise in mind. The promise is about new mornings. The scripture I hold speaks of mercies that come again. It names a tender pattern. It says that what fails in the night can be made fresh by the dawn. I do not quote the verse exactly. I carry its heart into the room for you. I speak in short sentences. I prefer the present tense. It helps the ear sleep. The words stay soft. There is a hush in the house. The air is cool near the window. Light from the street folds itself into the curtains. I imagine a horizon that keeps a small white seam. The seam is not showy. It simply promises light. That promise matters. I ask you to breathe with me. In slowly, out slowly. Feel the rib cage move. Let the shoulders soften 1 degree. If thoughts arrive, notice them and let them drift like leaves. Bring the attention back to the breath. I read a gentle paraphrase now. The message is plain. Mercy appears each morning. It arrives not as a loud trumpet. It comes as a mild, steady gift. It meets what is tired and worn. That meeting does not cure everything at once. It begins again. Imagine the morning you last woke lighter than the night before. Maybe the change was small. Maybe a bird called outside the window. Maybe a cup of tea warmed the hands. These small things register as newness. They are the sort of mercies the scripture points toward. I tell a short scene. A roof breathes steam in the first cold hour. A kettle hisses softly. Someone opens the curtains and the room drinks light. A cat rubs a leg and leaves a small grey fur. That ordinary sequence is not heroic. It is ordinary. It is sacred in its simplicity. Mercy behaves like that. It tends the small. It does not always enter as a dramatic reversal. It comes as a series of small brightenings. A morning can reframe the shape of a long sorrow. It does not remove memory. It reframes it, so the heart can carry the story with less crushing weight. I read another line of the passage in my mind. It points to constancy. Mercy does not fail. Its rhythm repeats. Each sunrise is a new page. The weight you held yesterday does not have to be the only shape today. A breath and a morning can alter perspective. That is the main gift. If you carry deep grief, this is not a dismissal. The night still holds its true hardness. I do not pretend the pain is small. I only say the morning returns with a pragmatic grace. It is enough to steady a step. It is not a complete curing. It is a company to move with you through the day. I invite a small practice. Picture the darkness like a cloth on the table. Fold it and place it to the side in your mind. Do not pretend it is gone. Fold it carefully. Leave room on the tabletop for a new cup. See the cup catch the light. Let the motion be symbolic. It is a small offering to the morning. I suggest you name one small thing you hope for tomorrow. Keep it tiny. Water a plant. Call a friend for a minute. Sit in the sun for 3 breaths. Write the hope on a scrap of paper in your mind. Tuck that scrap into a drawer labeled morning. The act trains the hand to expect small beginnings. I read slowly again. The passage I carry speaks of faithfulness that will not tire. That faithfulness shows in small returns. It looks like dew on a leaf at dawn. It is tender and patient. Visualize dew gathering until the leaf is cool and glistening. Mercy is like that. It gathers quietly until the chest feels less raw. There is a practical comfort in all this. If you wake to a new day and find no sudden joy that is expected, instead, look for one small thing that differs from yesterday. A change in posture, a softer sound, a single kind word left on a counter. Collect those small differences. They shape a new beginning. I speak now about regret. Nights show the old ledger more clearly. Regrets press their edges against sleep. The scripture I read offers no flippant erasure. It offers a starting place. Each morning is an unwrapping. You may not be able to reverse a past hurt. You can, however, take one small step toward repair. The day allows that step to be new. Consider a field that lies fallow for a season. The soil seems tired. A single seed sown will not fix the whole field. It begins a process. It allows roots to start. Day after day, small care brings shoots. The field slowly remembers how to yield. So too with life. Newness begins in small acts repeated. I read a small paraphrase about hope returned. The tone is mild. It does not cheerlead. It simply reassures that the future is not sealed to one dim script. Change can be gradual. Hope can grow without spectacle. This steadiness is what I wish you tonight. If the mind resists, practice a short ritual. Place a hand over the sternum. Feel the warmth of the palm. Breathe and hold one small phrase inwardly. For some, it may be, mercy comes again. For others, a simple morning returns. Say the phrase softly, with the in-breath. Let it be a tether. I also speak of community in this passage. New beginnings often appear not only for a singular person. They arrive in the breathing room, shared between 2 or 3, a helping hand, a neighbor who waters the plant, a friend who texts one short line, "I am here." These small acts are part of the mercy of morning. Do not expect grand transformation. Instead, look for the tiny rearrangements of the day. A nudge toward mercy looks like a hand placed gently on an elbow. It looks like a loaf of bread left at a door. It looks like someone remembering a name. These are the forms new beginnings often take. I read a brief reflection on patience. Newness seldom rushes. It instructs rather than insists, like a tree that pushes a bud. The process knows seasons. Allow your own timing to be respectful to that natural pace. Resist the urge to measure how quickly healing appears. Small timelines are sufficient. Now I invite one more breathing practice. Breathe in and imagine the first thin line of dawn. Hold the breath for a slow count. Exhale and picture that line widening. Let the image expand until your chest feels roomier. Repeat this 2 more times. Let the body register the enlargement. I offer a short encouragement for tomorrow. Choose one habit that welcomes the morning. It can be as small as opening a window for a minute and letting fresh air touch the face. It can be making a single cup of tea and sipping it deliberately. Small habits create open spaces where mercy can arrive again. If sleep takes you now, let these ideas be a gentle companion. Let the image of dawn sit at the edge of your dreams. If wakefulness lingers, rest in the slow promise that morning brings something new. The promise is neither loud nor demanding. It is patient and practical. Before I close, I read a final paraphrase of the scripture. It says that love renews itself each day. It says that compassion returns like the dawn. It assures that faithfulness does not tire. These are the quiet claims I leave with you tonight. I will end with a purposeful word. Tonight the bedrock beneath your feet can be the small assurance that every sunrise brings fresh mercy. Take one tiny, hopeful act with you into the morning. Let it be enough. In the next part I will read about patience and the quiet work of waiting. I keep my voice slow and the sentences short. Stay with me as long as you need. The word is steady. The morning will come. I lift the Bible and settle it open across my knees. The lamp throws a small, steady circle. I speak softly. Tonight I ask us to center on the word, not as a task of the mind, not as a test, as a slow motion of the heart. Centering means returning attention to a simple line. It means letting one phrase sit where the churning thoughts usually go. The practice is small. It is practical. It helps the mind stop spinning and the chest unclench. Choose one verse or one short phrase. Keep it small. Let it be a line you can carry in the ear. It need not be famous. It need not be perfect. A single sentence that touches the chest is enough. Write it on a slip of paper if that helps. Place the slip beneath a cup. Tuck it into the pillowcase edge. Make the verse a quiet object in the room. I read a sentence from the page now, and let it sit between us. I do not debate. I do not analyze. I let the idea act as a soft anchor. Hear how the words slow the breath. Notice how attention folds to a single point. The mind finds a foothold. Breathing with a verse helps. Breathe in, as if gathering the phrase. Breathe out as if letting it rest on the ribs. Match one short breath to one short phrase. The breath becomes a bridge between the noisy head and the quiet text. Let the rhythm be gentle. No strain, no hurry. Hold the verse lightly in memory. Imagine the letters like small pebbles in the palm. Turn one pebble over a few times. See its shape. Notice its weight. The motion is tiny. The act of turning it calms the hand and slowly, the mind, the verse is not a slogan. It is a small companion. Centering can be physical. Trace the words with a fingertip on the page. Feel the paper grain. The motion is deliberate and small. Let the fingertip follow the line as if reading by touch. The sound of spacing your breath with the trace creates a slow music in the room. This music is restful. Another gentle practice is to make the verse into a short prayer. Use no long sentences. Make it a two-line whisper in the mind. Speak it inwardly like a lullaby. The mechanics of prayer here are simple. Name a need. Fold the need into the verse. Release it on the out-breath. The prayer need not argue. It only hands something over. If the mind rebels and starts its usual list, do not fight. Notice the list kindly. Name one item on it and return to the verse. Each gentle return is a practice of centering. The mind learns by repetition. There is no failure in returning. There is only learning to come back. Keep the tone personal and small. The word does not arrive as a lecture in this hour. It comes as a quiet friend with a lamp. Imagine the words like soft rope lights strung along a dark path. They do not illuminate everything. They mark a way forward, just enough to take the next step. Walk slowly on the lit stones. Use the verse as a filter for the heart. When worry knocks, let the chosen phrase pass through first. Let it be the first response the ear receives. The habit shifts the default. Over time, the phrase becomes a cushion between thought and panic. It does not solve every worry. It changes how the worry touches the chest. I sometimes tuck a verse into the place where the eye rests on waking. A small card sits on the nightstand. The phrase there greets the first breath. It asks, gently, for attention. Facing that line at the start knits the day to a pattern of recall. The word becomes a neighbor to the morning as well as the night. Centering in Scripture is also a listening posture. Read a short paragraph, slowly aloud. Let each syllable hang for a beat. Pause between phrases. The silence gives the words room to land. If sleep comes while the mouth is still forming a line, that is good. The cadence of speech itself often invites rest. Turn a line into an image if the mind likes pictures. If the verse mentions peace, imagine a small field or a sheltered bench. If it speaks of care, Picture a hand over a cup. Keep the picture simple and near. Complex scenes demand energy. Small images invite the heart to pause. Centering does not require feeling something dramatic. Sometimes the verse rests like an ordinary roof over the head. It offers shelter rather than fireworks. Accept a modest comfort, a softened jaw, a slightly easier breath, a less tense shoulder. Small changes are meaningful in the night. When doubt presses, read the verse a second time in a different voice. Whisper it now, then say it silently. Changing the tone helps the phrase find different parts of the mind. The whisper touches the ear, the silence touches the chest. Each mode invites a new kind of attention. Practice repeating the line 10 times over a few minutes. Space the repetitions with the breath. The number is not a ritual obligation. It is a gentle training wheel. Repetition shows the mind how to settle. It helps the phrase become a familiar road to walk. Use the Bible's own rhythm as a guide. Phrases in Scripture were often arranged for listening. Let that rhythm lead. Short segments, clear beats, a cadence that follows breath. The text then moves into memory more easily. The heart receives rather than resists. If memory fails, carry the verse in an object, a stone, a ribbon, a scrap of paper. The object becomes an external memory. Touch it once before sleep. Let the touch call the verse back. This small habit builds a bridge between the body and the text. Centering also invites a posture of curiosity. Instead of asking why the verse must work tonight, ask what it does. Does it steady the hands? Does it soften anger? Does it make space for gratitude? Observe without demanding immediate proof. Notice small results. I read a short paragraph now, and let the words rest. No commentary, no proof. The lines sit like low lamps at the edge of a field. Listen to the pace. Let the ear become the home of attention. Allow the heart to answer in its own way. If sleep is distant, practice a slow journaling in the mind. Name one truth that the verse suggests. Turn it into one sentence you can live by tomorrow. Keep it small. Plan no sermons. A single manageable truth helps the mind. It gives a task too small to resist. When the night brings old regrets, hand them to the Word, as if passing a folded coat. No need to fix the past. The act is to transfer weight. The Scripture acts as an accepting presence. It does not excuse harm. It makes room for rest while repair happens in time. In community, this practice gathers. If someone else reads the verse aloud, 7 nights in a row, its sound becomes a shared contour. Companions learn the phrase together. The voice of another can make the text a mutual anchor. If you are alone, imagine that shared voice as a soft echo in the next room. Centering in the word shapes how the imagination rests. Unchecked imagination often runs to worst-case ends. A verse can be a guardrail. It does not shut imagination down. It simply gives it a kinder boundary. Let the mind play within a smaller, safer field. I offer a tiny exercise now. Choose a 4-word line. Say it on one breath. Hold for 2 counts. Release the breath. Repeat 5 times. Each repetition is an act of centering. It calms the nervous system by synchronizing thought and breath. Place the Bible within reach. If waking comes in the night, read one short line before turning the light off. The return to the same line creates a continuity between the hours. The word then becomes not only a bedtime companion, but a midnight anchor. Keep expectations gentle. The verse may not change everything tonight. That is acceptable. A single night's shift can be small and still real. Measure the change in softer breaths and quieter shoulders, rather than in dramatic conversions. If the chosen line ever feels worn or hollow, choose another. The practice is not loyalty to a phrase, but to the habit of centering. The word has many sentences. Let the heart find the one it needs now. I will read one more short passage slowly. Let the cadence fill the space. Let the words fall like soft rain on a roof. Breathe with them. Receive them as you would a warm blanket. Before this part closes, hold the verse in the mind one final time. Place a hand lightly over the heart. Breathe in and let the phrase come. Breathe out and let it rest. Say nothing more. The motion is small and decisive. I give a brief blessing as one who reads for the night. May this word be a calm center. May it make room for gentleness in the mind. May sleep, if it comes, be soft. May waking find a small light already present. The page closes quietly. The lamp remains low. If you stay awake, keep the verse with you and return to it in the slow method we shared. If sleep comes, let the word be the final rhythm in the ear. In the next part, I will read a passage about practicing praise in ordinary life. The pace will remain slow. The sentences will stay short. Rest for now. The word keeps its place beside the bed. I open the Bible with slow hands. The lamp gives the same warm circle. The page breathes where my thumb rests. I tell you the book holds an image I return to often. It is soft and steady. It feels like shelter. I read a passage about a protector. The language leans into a simple picture. The defender is like a bird with wide wings. The wings spread over the small things and the large things alike. They make a sheltered space. They make a quiet home from storm and from sudden fear. I do not quote the verse. I let the scene live in translation. In the small phrases I choose for tonight, picture a bird. The wings are large enough to cover a nest. The feathers are layered. They fold down like a roof. Under them warmth gathers. Under them breath slows. That is the image I carry into the room. It asks nothing from you, but the willingness to imagine being bent toward by that shelter. Breathe with me now. In slowly, out slowly. Each breath finds the steady rhythm of a wing stroke. In, out. The motion is patient. It is not urgent. It is enough to steady a frightened chest for a few breaths. I speak about protection in plain terms. Protection is not a promise that trouble will vanish. It is a promise of presence. It is a steadiness that does not leave when the night grows loud. The wing is not a guarantee of immediate escape. It is an assurance that the heart will not carry its burden alone through the dark. Hold one small worry in your mind. See it clearly. Give it a shape for a moment. Then imagine placing it gently on one of those layered feathers. The feather bends and holds. The worry does not disappear into magic. It is held. The act of placing it there changes the way you carry it. The shoulders drop a fraction. The breath lengthens an inch. Small changes are real changes. I recount a short memory. I once sat awake while rain tapped the window. My hands did not know how to still themselves. I read the image about the wings until the picture fit under my ribs. I set my palm on the chest. The gesture felt useless at first. Then it felt honest. The chest relaxed just enough to allow sleep. I do not tell the story as proof. I tell it as an example of how a simple image can alter the body. There is also the thought of shadow. The wings cast a shade. The shade is not a hiding place from life. It is a protected space to breathe and to repair. Think of a porch in summer where the heat presses. Step under the eaves. The air cools. The world remains the same. The cooling allows clearer thought. The wing's shadow works the same way. If fear wakes you tonight, do a small practice with me. Place your hand where your chest rises. Name one fear quietly in the mind. It can be one word. Breathe in to gather courage. Breathe out and imagine the wing passing slowly above you. Let the wing's underside catch the word. Picture the feather turning it over and setting it down. Practice this once. Do not force more. The single motion is a tiny offering. It is enough for now. Protection often looks practical. A hand at the shoulder. A blanket tucked in tighter. A neighbor who brings soup when the body is weak. The image of wings includes those ordinary acts. The metaphor calls to mind small kindnesses that work as armor. They do not remove challenge. They change the way it touches the skin. There is also the language of refuge. Refuge is an architectural word. It names a place to step into. The winged image makes that place personal and portable. You can imagine the refuge like a small room under a winged ceiling. The room has a narrow lamp, a soft chair, a cup of warm tea. That room exists within the shelter. The image promises. It is a place to put down hands and to breathe. Tonight, if sleep does not come, let the refuge be literal in your imagination. Picture a corner of the house under that wing. Arrange it. A chair. Esmolquild. A single book open. Imagine yourself sitting there. The air is steady. The world is allowed to be both hard and enough. Rest may arrive even without the final answers you seek. I also hold the image of a shield paired with the wing. The shield is a practical object. It stops what would harm. The wing lifts the shield close. Danger may still happen. The shield, like the wing, changes the force of the head. It keeps you intact enough to continue. This is not a boast. It is a small, important truth for the night. Mercy hides inside that shelter. Mercy is the way care moves towards small wounds. A folded wing does not shout. It presses gently at the places that ache. Mercy tends in the same way. It does not force a large healing in an hour. It offers the close touch that begins repair. Let that thought be a comfort without promise of a miracle tonight. If you have trouble trusting the image, move slowly into it. Start with one small piece. Feel the imagined feather brush your wrist. Stay with that sensation for 3 breaths. Notice how the body responds. The change may be minute. Tiny changes are still change. The nervous system registers gentleness. That registration is part of the healing. I read in this hour for many who cannot sleep. I read for those who keep watch at bedsides. I read for parents, for nurses, for those who wait for medical calls. The image of the wing keeps company with these lives. It does not remove work. It sustains effort. The shelter is practical for those who must rise in the dark. It gives enough rest to stand again. There is also the comfort in memory. Remember a time when a shelter arrived unexpectedly. A hand on the back. A friend at the door. The wing in tonight's picture holds those moments up as evidence that protection can be practical and gentle. Memory becomes a small stockpile of courage for the next night. I offer a short, silent ritual. You can try. Close the eyes if it helps. Place both hands lightly on the chest. Breathe into a slow count. Hold for a small beat. On the out-breath, imagine a broad wing, lowering. Let the wing's shadow fall across your hands. Stay there for 5 breaths. Let the motion be gentle. When you finish, do not rush to change anything. Sit with the stillness for a moment. Many nights are long for reasons that cannot be explained. This imagery does not insist on explanation. It invites rest. It invites a posture of trust for a time that is small and manageable. Trust tonight is not a lifelong surrender. It is a single choice to rest under a shelter for a few hours. I invite you to tuck one worry under the wing now. Use your mind to place it there. It may be a loose worry. It may be a heavy one. Let the act of placing be your work tonight. If sleep arrives afterward, let it carry you. If wakefulness stays, let the image of the wing remain at the edge of the mind like a light. Before I close this part, I offer a short benediction in my own voice. May the shelter of the wing be near you tonight. May the shade it throws cool what is hot inside. May the close touch of mercy pick at the small places that ache. May protection hold without pressing. Like a blanket folded with care, I put the Bible down softly. The lamp circle narrows a little. If you sleep, let the image of the wing be the last thing you hear. If you stay awake, keep the shelter with you. The next part will bring another soft image, another small practice of rest. For now, breathe again. In slowly, out slowly, rest under the wing. I sit with the book open and a lamp that breathes soft light. Tonight, I bring a single line from the letters to my ear. I name the reference gently Philippians 4:7. I do not argue. I let the phrase shape the room. The thought I carry is this peace that goes beyond what the mind can hold. It is not neat. It is not loud. It is deep and quiet and real. I speak in short sentences. I hold the idea like a small lamp. Peace that surpasses understanding does not first come as explanation. It arrives more like a hush. It settles where questions crowd. It rests over the places the mind cannot fully sort out. I invite that hush into this room now. Imagine a stone that has been turning in a pocket for months. The edges are raw from rubbing. Peace touches that stone and warms it slowly. It is not a polishing. It is a warming that makes the stone easier to carry. The change is small. It is enough. I read a paraphrase of the verse in my own words. The words are plain. A peace is available that will stand guard. It does not guard by force. It guards by keeping watch. It keeps the heart and the mind safe in a different way than a shield. It steadies their rhythm. It lets them breathe. Breathe with me now. In slowly. Hold one beat. Out slowly. Repeat. With each breath. Imagine a thin band of light encircling the chest. The band is gentle. It is the color of dusk. It does not press. It steadies. Let it be present for 3 breaths. This peace is not evasive. It does not refuse the hard facts. It accepts them. It rests beside them rather than over them. Think of a small harbor where waves pound the rocks. The harbor keeps a tiny circle of water calm. The wind stills in that circle for a while. The rest is practical. It gives room for mending. When the mind wants answers it cannot find, tell the mind rest. You do not need to solve everything right now. The peace I am inviting is not a blank erasure of thought. It is a gentle reordering. It creates a space where the loudest thoughts no longer take the only seat. Place your attention on the hands. Feel the skin on the palm. Let the fingers relax one at a time. The body follows small cues. The nervous system listens to little motions. These tiny acts help the mind accept the peace being offered. A relaxed hand is a small proof that something is shifting. I sometimes say this to myself at night. Let what is beyond me be held where it belongs. The line is a simple permission. It tells my chest that some things need not be solved tonight. Saying that permission quietly is an action. It unburdens the shoulders by an inch. That inch matters. There is another image that comforts me. Imagine a gentle sentinel who sits outside a door. The sentinel keeps watch all night. It does not march or shout. It simply waits with a steady breathing. Nothing that wants to break in finds its way past that sentinel easily. The sentinel is kind. It is patient. It knows the names of those who sleep behind the door. If worry presses, name one worry aloud in the mind. Make it small. Give it a single sentence. Then imagine sliding the worry through the sentinel's hands. The sentinel takes the small paper and holds it until morning. That imagined holding is the work of peace. It does not fix the worry in an instant. It keeps it from dominating the night. The phrase that comes with this promise often feels surprising. It says peace will literally guard your heart and your thinking. Guard, in my mind, means to keep watch, to steady, to make a quiet boundary. It is different from shutting the world out. It is a close, calm accompaniment. I do not use big words when I invite this peace. I use small practices. One is a breathing pause. Another is naming gratitude for one small thing today. A third is placing the hand over the heart as a promise of witness. These acts are not magical. They are practical ways to let the mind step back from its fiercest circling. Tonight, I ask you to pick one gentle image to hold, maybe a sentinel by a door, maybe a small harbor, maybe a band of dusk light around the ribs. Let that image be yours for a few breaths. Return to it when the mind wanders. Come back without scolding. The practice is patient and forgiving. Peace beyond understanding often feels like a mismatch to the logic that demands reason. It does not make sense on paper. It works where reasoning cannot. I treat it like a companion who knows the route that I cannot yet see. I accept the company. I walk slowly with it. If you keep a ledger of fears, choose one item from it tonight. Do not attempt to audit the whole list. Take one paper from the stack, fold it, lay it at the sentinel's feet. Imagine the sentinel placing the paper into a chest. The chest has a soft lining. The act of placing the paper down is itself restful. I read the Bible for many who sit awake with heavy thoughts. I do not give complex theologies. I give simple invitations. The trust I offer is small. Trust one breathe. Trust one image. Trust one night's guard. That is enough to begin. Sometimes the peace shows itself in sleep for an hour at first. Sometimes it comes as a calm watching the ceiling. Both are gifts. Both are valid responses. The night accepts them both without judgment. I also bring the idea of a tether. A tether ties the restless mind to something steady. The tether is not a heavy chain. It is a thin rope of memory. It may be the memory of one kindness from today. It may be a remembered prayer. When worry drifts, the tether keeps the mind from floating too far away. It allows return. Make a small tether now. Think of one kindness you saw today. Keep it in the mind for 3 slow breaths. Let each breath tie the mind gently back to that memory. The tether need only hold for a little while. The peace we invited will do the rest of the job. You are not required to believe everything tonight. You are invited to try one small practice. Try the sentinel, the harbor, the dusk band. Breathe. Place a hand, or let the mind picture a single memory. Let the chest register the slight easing. The body remembers these easings and begins a habit of rest. I offer a brief, quiet prayer in the softest voice. I do not demand answers. I do not press for transformation. I ask that the peace beyond understanding draw close and stand guard over the breathing mind. I offer one small worry into that care. I place it in my imagination, into the sentinel's chest. Sit with the quiet for a beat. If sleep comes, allow it. Let the peace hold the heart and the mind as you move into rest. If wakefulness stays, stay with the practice. Return to the tether. Return to the image. Be gentle with yourself. As I close this part, I set the book down slowly. The lamp keeps a wide, soft margin. The pages do not rush. I promise to come back with another passage in a little while. In the next part, I will speak about safety and security in simple terms. I will keep my voice slow. I will keep sentences short. Rest now if you can. Let the peace that surpasses explanation do its quiet guarding. Breathe in, breathe out. Let the sentinel wait. Let the harbor hold. Let the dusk band circle your chest. The night is attentive. The word keeps watch beside the bed. I turn the page and rest my finger on the thin paper. The lamp throws a quiet arc of light. The night feels patient. I choose a passage that has steadied me many times. It speaks of a love that will not let go. I do not recite the words exactly. I carry their heart to you instead. I read in a voice that stays small. The idea is simple. Nothing can put a final distance between a human heart and God's love. That thought is not an argument. It is a soft assurance. Say it silently with me if you like. Nothing separates. Let the phrase sink like a small stone into a calm pool. The rings move outward and then ease. Imagine a shoreline at low tide. The sand is cool beneath the feet. Waves come in. They reach farther than one might think. They touch the places left, dry by an earlier tide. God's love is that tide. It comes and comes again. It crosses places that feel distant. It finds the shallowest indent and fills it. The image is not grand. It is steady. When I read the passage, I think of a ring. The ring is simple metal. It fits snugly around a finger. It is not flashy. It is a sign of belonging. There is no space beneath the ring for a secret to hide. Belonging is the point. The scripture tells us to imagine being within that circle, not outside it, not only brushed by it, within. This love does not depend on how tidy a life looks. It does not keep a ledger of perfect days. It comes near the messy parts. It leans into the dark rooms and the quiet corners. When the mind offers reasons, it cannot be love. The love simply remains. It does not argue back. It works by presence. I do not offer a long theology. I offer images and small practices. The first practice is breathing. Breathe in slowly. Imagine the breath is a thread drawn through you from a warm lamp. Breathe out slowly. Picture that thread becoming a gentle hand. The hand rests on the chest for one breath. It does not hurry. It only steadies. The next image is of roots. A tree stands even in wind because its roots weave deep. You might feel unmoored. The text invites the imagination to picture roots wrapping around the heart. They hold. They do not solve every storm. They make the standing possible. Let that picture sit for 3 slow breaths. Think of music played softly behind a scene. The melody does not demand attention. It supports the moment. God's love is like that music. It underlies the day. It does not empty the difficulty. It gives a background that changes how difficulty is heard. Lift one shoulder and then release it. Let the music take a small weight away. There are long lists. Some try to make of things that push away. The passage I hold names extremes and powers. I do not recite them. I say only this: no height or depth, no remembered hurt or imagined fear. No power in the world can set love beyond reach. It is a wide claim. It sounds large. Tonight I speak of it gently. I let its largeness be a blanket rather than a parade. If doubt comes, bring the doubt into the room. Place it at the lamp. Look at it with curiosity. What is the shape of the doubt? Is it a cold stone? A thin thread? Give it a small name. Then imagine laying that small thing into a basin filled with warm water. Watch steam lift the edges of the worry. The action is not a magic cure. It is a practical move that shows how love meets a named worry Some nights the fear feels like a loud gong. The thought of separation makes the heart rush. In such hours, the phrase I offer is short and repeatable. Say to yourself, "Love finds me." Say it slowly and let the breath match the saying. Do it 5 times. That practice is not a proof. It becomes a steadying habit. I tell a small memory. Once, during a season unusually sharp, the lamp was low and the street quiet. A letter arrived, folded small. The envelope had nothing dramatic inside. A note said only, "This you are not alone." No great theology, no heavy words. That small line met a wide need. The memory is a proof of how simple acts echo the larger promise. The scripture's claim can look like that small Giet. True. There is a difference between being known and being judged. The love the passage holds is a knowing kind. It does not flinch away from faults. It names them gently and does not run. Imagine a lantern held close to a scar. The light does not make the scar smaller by pretending. The light warms and keeps watch. That warmth is sometimes enough to feel less cold. If you carry regret tonight, put one regret into a small imagined box. Close the lid carefully. If it helps, label the box with a single word. Tuck the box beneath the bedside table in your mind. Picture the love I read as a covering cloth over the table. The cloth is thick and soft. The box sits under it. The action allows a small refugee space in the chest. We are often tempted to think that proof must come quickly. Yet this love invites patience. Its work is often slow. It arrives in repeated breaths, kind hands, meals offered, a text sent for no reason. Notice one small kindness from today. Say thank you silently. The act of noticing is a tiny opening to the larger claim that nothing separates. I speak now of unity. Unity with God's love is not a forced conformity. It is a coming home. Think of a traveler returning to a coastal village. The harbor holds the boats regardless of how rough the sea had been. The harbor does not ask for perfect sails. It only receives. The scripture pictures that harbor. It calls us into the space where unity is simply being held. To practice unity tonight, imagine a thin cord tied between your heart and a lamp on the table. The cord is gentle. It is not a chain. It is a link of light. When thoughts pull away, they tug the cord. The cord gently returns the attention without snapping. Let that motion be a permission. Be where you are while being tethered to something larger. There is no achievement required to be within this love. It is not a prize for good behavior. It is a welcome given. The welcome can change how the morning looks. It can alter the small decisions of a day. It does not fix bills or erase loss. It does change the interior climate. A body breathing within a kindly room behaves differently than one under harsh lights. If sleep is slow, let the image of belonging be the last phrase you hold. Say quietly, "I belong." Breathe. Repeat once. Keep the words plain. Avoid grand speeches. Small sentences fit tired ears better. Let them fold into the breath. I offer a brief benediction now. May the sense that nothing separates you from love rest like a warm cloth. May the knowledge be a slow lamp in the night. May it steady hands and soften the jaw. Receive this blessing without needing to prove it. Let it sit beside the pillow like a small companion. Before I close the book, I invite a single action. Place a hand where your breath is widest. Feel the gentle rise and fall on the in-breath. Picture the cord between your heart and a calm light. On the out-breath, release an image of a worry into the lamp's glow. One small exchange is enough for tonight. I will come back in the next part with a passage that traces love into action. My voice will stay soft. The sentences will stay short. The lamp and the book will be where they are. Rest if the night finds you. Stay if it does not. Either way, the promise stays. Nothing can finally put a distance where love dwells. The lamp is low. The Bible lies open in my lap. I breathe slowly and let the room settle. Tonight I ask only one thing. Be still with me and listen for a gentle whisper. Settle where you are. Loosen the shoulders. Let the jaw unclench a fraction. If a hand rests on a blanket, leave it there. If feet touch the floor, notice the point of contact. These small senses help the mind come home. Breathe with me. In slowly. Hold for a soft count. Out slowly. Let each out-breath fall like a small curtain. The rhythm becomes the room's steady heartbeat. That pulse is a good place to begin. When I read the Bible at bedtime, I listen as much as I speak. I listen for the slow, quiet phrases that slip past argument and hurry. The voice I follow is often not a trumpet. It is a low sound, almost a rustle. It comes in the gentle cadence between two breaths. Imagine a thin bell hanging in a quiet room. The bell does not clang. It gives one delicate note, and then waits. That single note invites a pause. The pause invites listening. Treat the night like that room. Let one small sound open the space for another. Thoughts will come. They are not intruders to be chased away. Notice them kindly. Name one briefly and return to the breath. The practice is patient. It is not a test. Each return is a small act of trust. Place a hand on the chest for a moment. Feel the rise and fall beneath the palm. That motion is the body's whisper. It is a place where the heart and the word can meet. If the hands shake, let them shake. The shaking is part of the story. It does not disqualify listening. I will read a short line from the pages in a moment. For now, imagine listening without hurry. Close your eyes, if that helps. Let the lids be soft. The dark of the room becomes a companion rather than an obstacle. The mind can rest into the dim, the gentle voice of God, as I have heard it in the quiet hours. Often arrives like a memory made tender. It is not always a new instruction. Sometimes it is a plain reminder that we are seen. Sometimes it is a calm nudge toward mercy, or a quiet encouragement to do only the next small thing. Do not expect a dramatic revelation. The night does not always work by thunder. Instead, imagine a narrow creek during a still hour. The water slips along. You hear it not because it shouts, but because everything else has stopped. The whisper works like that creek. It becomes audible when the clatter of the day quiets. If you find a phrase from Scripture that sits well in the ear, hold it gently. Let the words be an inner lantern. Place them where the breath rests. A single short phrase, repeated slowly in the mind, can become a soft anchor. Choose the verse that comforts you most tonight. Keep it small. Repeat it on the in-breath once or twice. Listening for the gentle voice is also a practice of patience. Wait without demanding immediate clarity. The mind seeks, answers, like a hand searching pockets. Donate donate rumage. Rest the hand on the chest and wait. The voice may come as a warmth rather than a sentence. It may be felt rather than heard. Notice how the body answers small kindness. A tight shoulder releases by an inch. The jaw relaxes a fraction. These tiny changes are evidence that the heart is receiving something. Do not discount them. They are the way the whisper moves from hearing into being. At times the voice arrives as a memory of grace, a neighbor's brief help, a meal left at a door, a line of comfort spoken years ago and remembered now as if it were placed beside the pillow. These small mercies are often the hush's language. Let one such memory come. Hold it. Breathe with it once. The hush also visits as invitation. It may ask only for one action. Forgive one small thing. Let go of one tight thought. Take one walk tomorrow. The request will often be practical and modest. If the night brings a nudge to act, treat it like a seed. Plant it in the mind without forcing it to sprout immediately. If ears strain for sound, listen inward. Hear the silence between the breaths. Notice the small stirrings of memory. Pay attention to a single sensation, the cool of the sheet, the weight of the blanket, the slow creak of the chair. The voice sometimes hides within those ordinary textures. There is no need to frame an elaborate prayer. Say a few short words inwardly, if it helps. Keep them plain. A sentence as small as a whisper, 1 or 2 lines can open the heart. If words feel heavy, breathe and hold the intention of listening without language. Intent is enough. Some nights the whisper comforts by offering names, not dramatic titles, but quiet remembrances. A person's face returns. A short phrase of thanks surfaces. The small grief feels acknowledged. These are not theological proofs. They are intimate ways the night makes room for what is true. I do not insist that everyone hears in the same way. Some hear the voice as a clear phrase. Others feel it as a calm that settles in the gut. Some receive no immediate sign, and that is also a valid part of the night. Trust that listening itself is work worth doing. Whether sound follows quickly or slowly, if fear is present, put it into the practice rather than pretending it is not there. Name the fear silently. Give it a small shape, then invite the whisper to touch that shape. Sometimes the hush's task is not to remove the fear, but to steady it, so that a person can live alongside it. A gentle exercise. Now breathe in and imagine a thin thread of light entering at the crown. Let it travel slowly down the spine. Pause where it meets the chest. Exhale and imagine that thread widen just enough to cradle the lungs. Repeat this 2 more times. Let the motion be slow and kind. The image is not magic. It is a simple device to help the body and the ear align. Keep listening for the subtle shift when the whisper arrives. It may bring a tiny courage. It may call for rest. It may name a short truth that helps the next choice. The voice rarely shouts. It tends the small doorways of the heart instead. If sleep comes, do not worry about missing the moment. Often the whisper holds while the person sleeps. Mercy works both awake and in rest. If wakefulness stays, remain attentive without clinging. The patient posture is the heart of this practice. A small suggestion: for later, keep a scrap of paper by the bed. If a soft word arrives in the stillness, note it quickly. The scrap is not to be studied now. It is a ledger of tenderness for the morning. Many whispers fade with daylight. The paper can keep one safe. Be gentle with expectations. The night is a teacher of slow things. It will not always reward impatience. It rewards presence. Presence is the smallest, truest offering a tired heart can make. Now, I will read a brief passage that leans into listening. I will speak slowly, so the space between lines is wide. Let the silence between my words be as important as the words themselves. If the breath carries you toward sleep, that is a gift. If it keeps you alert, stay with the quiet and let the hush work without hurry. Before I begin, place your hand over the place where you feel the breath most clearly. Feel the pulse. Know that this moment is enough. Listening itself is a form of prayer. It does not need performance. It needs honesty and a soft readiness. When the reading finishes in the next part, allow a few seconds of silence to sit. Let whatever came sound, warmth, a small thought settle in the body. If nothing seems to have stirred, rest in the discipline you have practiced. The habit of listening opens channels over time. I will close this piece with a quiet encouragement. Keep the posture of waiting through the next minutes. Do not press for explanation. Receive a small calm if it comes. If it does not, return to the breath and to the small practices we used. The night is patient. The word is gentle. When you are ready, I will read the passage aloud. Stay as long as you need. The next part will follow with another gentle reading and a little more time to listen. For now, be still and watch with me for a whisper. I lower the lamp a fraction. The light becomes a softer pool. The book rests open. My voice is quiet. I invite a slow attention. Settle deeper if you can. Let the shoulders lose another small degree. Unclench the jaw. Place both feet softly where they rest. These are small, practical motions. They make room for what follows. I carry a brief line in my mind from a letter written long ago. It asks that we hand over our anxieties to someone who cares. The line is not a command. It is an invitation. Hear it as that come and let this weight be held for a while. Begin by naming one worry. Make it small. Do not list everything. Choose one pressing thing tonight. Give it a clear shape in the mind. Maybe it is a single phrase. Maybe it is an image. Hold it gently for one breath. Now imagine a hook on the wall near your bed. The hook is plain and steady. It waits with no judgment. Take the worry as if it were an old coat. Lift it deliberately. Feel the fabric of the worry in imagined hands. Move toward the hook. Hang the coat there. Let the shoulder relax as the coat slips from it. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice a slight easing where the straps once dug. The body registers small shifts. These shifts are real work. They matter. If the coat image is awkward, try a different one. Picture a small parcel wrapped tight. Walk to a window and hand it through an open sill into a larger hand outside. The new hand is warm. It takes the parcel without fuss. You do not need to carry the parcel tonight. Let that be enough. I guide this practice because giving one thing away is manageable. The mind resists wholesale surrender. Small acts build trust. If only one worry finds a resting place. That is a true and helpful beginning. Place a hand where the ribs rise. Feel the breath under the palm. Keep the hand there as you fold in the next thought. Breathe in to gather courage. Breathe out to release a small piece of the load. Repeat once or twice. The touch becomes a witness to your offering. Picture the hand you pass the worry to as steady and patient. It does not hurry. It does not lecture. It holds. It cares. Imagine warmth there, like a shallow light. Let that warmth reach the place where the worry settles. I do not require dramatic emotion. Many nights bring only a slight lightening, a tiny shift in the chest, a half note of relief. Those half notes add up. The practice is the slow work of training hands to open. If a thought resists being named, let the breath be the naming. Draw in deeply and think only this. This is a worry. Exhale and imagine the worry loosening by an inch. Use that breath as a bridge between the mind's list and the act of release. There is a way to use the senses to help. Imagine setting the worry on a leaf. See the leaf rest on water. Watch it travel. Hear the small ripple. The sound is not loud. It simply shows motion toward a place that can hold it. The image helps the body accept the letting go. I suggest a brief ritual you can do each evening. Take 3 slow breaths. On the first in-breath, name the worry quietly. On the out-breath, picture handing it to the caring hand. On the second cycle, notice the chest. On the third, allow a small thanks for the act of handing it over. No need to force gratitude. Let it arrive if it does. Sometimes the hand you imagine will be a parent's warmth. Sometimes it is a friend's steady palm. Sometimes it is simply a presence that does not require a face. Any stable image of care will serve. The important thing is that the worry moves out of your grip and into another's care. If night fears are many, choose the smallest one first. Many feel useless to carry alone. Start with a tiny knot. Untie one loop. Set that loop down. That single action trains the hands to trust another to carry more in time. I know the mind can be skeptical. Give the practice 2 tries. The first may feel strange. The second often feels more possible. The soul learns by repetition, not by single dramatic conversions. Do not rush the body. Let muscles relax slowly. Let the breath lengthen by an inch. When hands unclench even slightly, the nervous system notes the change. That is the mercy moving from image into physiology. Notice it. Honor it. If tears come, let them. They are part of the body's language for release. If quiet does not bring tears, do not force them. Rest is not measured only by tears. A softened jaw is a kind of mercy too. I often offer a short phrase to hold quietly as the image settles. Use a line that is simple and steady. For example, say inwardly, I lay this down. Say it with the in-breath. Let the out-breath pretend to carry the phrase away. A small sentence spoken in this way becomes a tether for calm. After you have placed one worry on the hook or into a willing hand, imagine a tiny light in its place. The light is not bright. It is enough to mark the spot and to keep the worry seen, but held. The presence that holds is not a distant abstraction. It is an attentive guard. If a practice like this has been tried and found useless before, adapt it tonight. Maybe the image is too childish or too tender. Try a mechanical picture. Slide the worry into a safe box and lock the lid. Imagine a label held for the night. The words need no ceremony. The lock symbolizes a boundary between the mind and the thing it cannot carry now. Boundaries are important. Releasing a worry does not necessarily fix the problem. It simply removes the burden from the shoulders for a time. That time may be enough to think again tomorrow with clearer eyes. The night's rest becomes a practical tool, not a magical cure. If guilt tugs at the mind when placing a burden elsewhere, speak kindly to that tug. Tell it, tonight I rest. The rinse of the breath helps soften the self-reproach. The practice is patient. It allows imperfection while offering space for grace. Let the hands of sleep come when they will. If they do not arrive immediately, keep the picture of the willing hand near. Hold it like a small card in the mind. Open it when thoughts crowd. Let the card say, this is being held. Return your attention to the breath. There will be mornings when the hook is still full. That is expected. Use the next day to decide what action is needed. Maybe the held worry requires a phone call, a small plan, or a conversation. Being honest with what cannot be solved tonight is itself an act of wisdom. For now, accept the rest. Let the act of handing over be enough work for the evening. Allow the body's weight to shift toward the mattress. Let the eyes close with gentle purpose. Sleep, when it comes, will find you with a slightly lighter load. Before I end, place a hand on the place you most often feel, the breath. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a soft count. Breathe out and notice the small space that opens. Whisper inwardly one more gentle line. I do not command. I invite to be held. I close with a short, quiet wish. May the worry you have set down rest where you placed it. May the care that holds it be steady through the night. May the breath find a slower pace. May morning bring a small clarity and a continued help for the steps that follow. The book rests closed for a moment. The lamp narrows its circle. Stay as long as the night keeps you. If sleep comes, rest well. If it waits, keep the image of the willing hand and the hook both near the mind. I will return in the next part to lean into mercy in action. For now, sleep if you can. Be held. I lower the lamp until its circle is thin and warm. The Bible rests where my hands last touched it. The room breathes slow with us. I sit very still and let the quiet gather. I have read for hours. I have kept a steady pace. I have chosen small sentences and plain images. My aim has been mercy and rest. My aim has been to make space for sleep. We have walked through roots and wings, through harbour lights and small gardens. We have practiced gentle acts. We have learned to hand one burden at a time to a willing hand. We have remembered that help often looks like a neighbour with a trowel, a friend with a note, a hand on a shoulder. These things are not gone because the lamp lowers. They remain true as you move toward the night. Now I prepare to close. I speak slowly. Each sentence is a small step. I am the reader at your bedside. I offer a last steady voice before the dark gathers fully. Place your hand on the chest if you like. Feel the breath there. Notice the warmth. Keep that awareness for a moment. This small touch is a sign that the body can be a friend tonight. It does not demand work. It asks only for notice. Breathe with me. In slowly. Hold for a gentle count. Out slowly. Let each out-breath carry a little loosened weight. Do not force anything. Let the rhythm be mild and true. I offer a blessing now. I do not compose a long sermon. I speak a short, steady wish. My words are plain and earnest. May a gentle peace move into the room. May it settle like a soft shawl over the shoulders. May it not hurry you toward answers. May it give you ease enough for rest. May the one who watches the hills and counts the stars keep watch over you tonight. May that watch be quiet and tender. May it be present in ways you feel as warmth and as small courage. I pray for the mind. May racing thoughts slow. May worry find a place to rest. May anxious habits release their hold, little by little. I do not promise a racing of trouble. I ask for company in it. I ask for enough calm to take one deep breath at a time. I pray for the body. May muscles unclench. May the jaw soften. May tired limbs sink into a sleep that repairs their tiredness. If pain is present, may it be met with gentle care. If rest does not come fully, may the body gain small measure of ease. I pray for the heart. May tender places feel held. May regret find room for mercy. May grief find a companion who bears the heavy part. For now, I ask for a quiet that makes space for memory without letting it dominate the whole night. I pray for those who keep watch. If you are beside another, or at a bedside, or standing in a hospital corridor, may your strength be steadied. May a small rest come in the margins. May a neighbor arrive with a warm cup or a short word that lightens the load. I pray for parents who rise at odd hours. May the small hands on little chests breathe easier. May the lullabies you know return without strain. May the sheer work of care be met with kindness from others when it is available. I pray for those who live in fear tonight. May the fear be met by a presence that will not abandon. May the courage to do the next small thing come when it is needed. You do not need to solve everything now. One small step is real progress. I pray for those who cannot sleep because the questions are sharp. May patient trust arrive as an anchor. It need not answer every question at once. It can simply be a hand that steadies the breath for a while. I pray for those who feel far from faith. Your distance will not disqualify you from mercy. The word I have read this evening does not demand perfection. It offers room. It offers a steady company. If you listen in the night, accept what you can. I ask that mercy find its way into ordinary acts. May small kindnesses from the day become a chain for tomorrow. May one neighbor's smile, one coffee left where you will find it, one short call serve as evidence that caring threads run through life. I pray for forgiveness to begin as a small action. If there is a ledger you carry, may you set down one sheet tonight. It need not be the whole account. Place one thing where another hand can hold it for a while. That small act is an opening for rest. I ask for grace to meet weakness, where strength is low. May help come where hands tremble. May a steady hand touch them. May the knowledge of not having to be whole tonight itself be restful. I pray for the morning. May it come with simple mercies. May the dawn bring small surprises of kindness. May you wake enough for one simple act that invites more life into the day. I do not speak long now. The prayer is short, and the room is quiet. Breaths come soft and spaced. Let the words settle. Heavenly Father, hold them close. Keep a gentle watch. Give peace that visits and stays. Grant rest that mends. Send small mercies that multiply. Keep them in your loving care this night. In Christ's quiet mercy. Amen. I watch the lamp for a moment. The flame is steady. The book is a place I return to. I will return to it again if you wish. The minor list of tasks for the morning can wait. Tonight is for rest. If you have been with me through the whole reading, thank you. If you joined just now, welcome. The invitation is the same. Come with a tired heart and stay a while with the word. There is no membership test. There is only the small act of listening. If you sleep here, let these final lines be the last in your ear. If wakefulness remains, let them be a companion to your quiet hours. Either way, I leave a small counsel, accept one small kindness tomorrow. Make it simple. Let it be a beginning. I will say good night now, in a slow and plain voice. Good night. Rest easy. May dreams be sweet, under God's careful watch. May sleep meet you like a friend who keeps vigil and tends the light. When morning comes, may you find one small mercy waiting. May it be enough to start the day slowly. Until then, be held, be safe, be loved. I close the Bible softly. The lamp circle narrows to a thin margin. I lift my hand in a small, unspoken benediction. The act is simple. It is a gesture that says you are not alone. I will come again in another hour, or another night, if you wish. For now, sleep in the presence of quiet grace. Good night.